Hello and welcome to another show with Willow. This is Whispers of Willow, and this show is in association with Willow's Witchy Den 101. So today's show is going to be part two of the information and education about Hekate and Cernunnos, our god and goddess of the craft. So in this show, I'm going to be talking to you about how you can work with Hekate and Cernunnos in your craft, all of the things that are associated to them, different tools and different symbols and different amulets that are attached to them in the craft, and some basic spell prayers and information to help you to be able to interact and to connect with the god and goddess in a positive and safe way. So the point of these educational videos are to help all new fellow coming witches, maybe those that have just joined the craft and still seeking for education, and even for those that are not wanting to be a witch but want to be able to work in magic and be the pursuer of their own rights and life and what they want to happen. So if you are one of these people, then you have come to the right place and you've come to the right education. I will ask people to make sure that they've got their pens and papers with them so you can write down all useful information. This show is where I tell you about all the different tools and things that are represented to them that we would have to use to call, to invoke, and to be able to work with them correctly. So please make sure that you have something to write everything down in. And also remember that you do not have to go by the category and name of witch. The witch can be within you, but you can go by other names. You do not have to specifically be called a witch like I call myself. You can call yourself a spiritual practitioner, a magical practitioner, a light worker, whatever suits your way of working and what with what and the is your own. With the coming into the witchcraft and working with the witchcraft, you don't have to specifically work with deities. You can just work with the energy of nature. You can even work with the Lord Jesus if that's somebody you work with and you believe in. Anybody can be brought into this magic. This magic is not evil, it is not bad, it is simply just a way, and these gods and goddesses are ways for you to be able to connect and to communicate with yourself and to know your true self. So let's get on to the show and let's start talking about my amazing and beautiful goddess Hekate, which is one that I have worked with for a very long time, and obviously our amazing and powerful god Cernunnos, which is another deity that I have worked with for a very long time as well. So we're going to be talking about these two deities. Now, there is one thing that a lot of people get really misunderstood about. How do we say their names? There are so many different ways of saying their names. As you see here, Hecate's name is spelled Hecate, but you can do that as Hekate. Okay, and when you say her name, there is so many different affirmatives to what her name is. Some call her Hekate, Hekate, Hekata, Hecatea. Like there is just so many different names and equivalencies to who she is. Okay, now it's the same with Cernunnos. Now Cernunnos has got quite a unusual name himself, and a lot of people have always been known to call him Cernunnos. A lot of people call him that, but Cernunnos, Cernunnos, Cernunnon, like there is just so many different ways that you can say his name as well. But just remember that there is no right or wrong way of saying their name. They know their energy, they know their deity, they know that different pronunciations of their names. So if you can't completely say their name properly, but you can get as close to it, do not worry yourself, guys. They will still know the energy and that you're calling out to them. So that I thought I would make really open and out to you so that you are aware of that. So when I start doing this educational stuff, I will turn the camera off and there will just be a number of different pictures of Hekate and of Cernunnos. Okay, so we're starting with Hecate's work. So we will work through her first, and then we will do Cernunnos. This video will be quite a long one, but it is really important for you as practitioners and workers of magic to understand gods and goddesses, even if you're not going to be directly working with them and dedicating to them or calling out to them. When you're working in different domains and you're using different forms of magic, you are always going to come into contact with energies connected to those lands. So it's really good and really important to always make sure that you have your information about them nonetheless. So we're going to get straight into talking about Hekate, and I hope that you enjoy this. I hope this brings you inspiration. This helps you to understand Hekate and Cernunnos more, and helps you to realize just who they really are. There are so many depictions between Cernunnos and Hekate that have been made really negative through certain spiritual beliefs. They were demonetized, they were spoke against, they were accused of being of devil worshipping when they are not at all. They are not even associated with that. Yes, they are both connected to the underworld, but not the underworld in the way that Satan and all that is. They walk between the liminal worlds, and they help and bring souls to where they need to go, is what their job is. And they help you to connect with loved ones and other things like that. Cernunnos has always been very misunderstood because of his horns, which are stag horns, but that has always been very easy to a lot of people to start judging him as being Satan, when he is not Satan. He is the god of the wild and of nature. And with Hekate, because of her association with the underworld, and because she has walked on both the light and the dark path in the work she's had to do and how she's had to help others, she has very easily been thrown into the demon category as well, which she is not. She is a Titan goddess, as it is said in the story, even though there are a few different stories behind her. She is meant to be a Titan goddess. She is meant to be the daughter of Perseus and Astara. Perseus being the god of anger and war and wrath, but not anger, war, and wrath in the way that you know it, as in being evil, but the destruction of things that are not needed and not wanted. That is the sort of energy that he works with and he uses. And then you've got Astara, which is Hecate's mother. Now, Astara is a goddess that is very much attached to the star, the moons, and the universe up there. So anybody that's into astrology and all of that sort of stuff, then Hecate's mum is a remarkable deity to work. So Hecate's good or bad into life, but not bad in the way as in evil. But if somebody was to work and do in an influence of negative way, she will work in that way as well, because she has walked the light and the dark consequences. If you're somebody that just works in the light and you have good intention and good way, she will only work with you in that way. So it is all about your intention and how you decide to do your work on what's going to happen in your spells and your castings. Let's be honest. No magic and no deity is evil or good. They are balance. It is the choices and the actions that we do as practitioners that makes the whole of that category the way it is. Sadly, most witches do not seek evilness or to do evilness. They seek to work with the rhythms of the world, with the rhythms of nature, and to just be their self, and to pass that wisdom and that ancient knowledge and all of that understanding that they learn through their practices and through their deities. So let's get on to Hekate, guys, and I hope you enjoy it, and let's start. And thank you everybody for joining. I appreciate you watching this video, and I hope that you find it beneficial and it helps you to understand our gods and goddess, Cernunnos and Hekate. Cernunnos, again, like I said, is a misunderstood god as well. He has very much been depicted as being Satan at times, but he is not Satan. He is the god of the wild, of nature. He is the lord of animals. He is the god that brings you abundance and fertility and things like that. He's very much linked to being the god that's supposed to impregnate mother goddess, um, impregnate her and make growth in all things. So yeah, there's a lot behind him. So let's get into this story and let's start talking about Hekate first, and then we will bring up Cernunnos. I'm going to have my video camera off and the pictures just coming on and off of each character and deity, and I'm going to be reading to you the stuff that I have researched and got and stuff that I know. So here we go. So starting with Hekate. Is that Hekate? Yep. So we've got Hecate's a triple goddess symbol. So she does represent the maiden, the mother, and the crone. Obviously, she is known as a triple goddess. Sometimes she's also called a lunar goddess, which is also associated to the triple goddess too. So let's start. Our goddess Hekate is the most mysterious goddess in all of mythology. Hecate is associated with witchcraft, the dark moon, and magic, crossroads spirits. Despite her dark associations, Hecate is also a force for the good. She can help us to connect with our inner power and wisdom. In this blog that I have wrote to you, there is some information on the goddess Hecate and how you can connect with her. So then the first part is, who is Hecate? A lot of people ask who Hecate is. A lot of people are unsure of Hecate. They're not really sure if they want to work with her or not, because they've heard so many different stories and ways about her that people really do not know which way to go about her. The best thing I can say to you is just get to know her and just do the information in the education on what you can. I can say through my experiences with Hecate that I've never had a bad experience with her. Yes, she'll kick your ass. She'll move you into play. She'll make you do things that you're supposed to be doing. She'll make you remind of your inner power, your strength. She'll help you to fight all of that dark and that evil energy that's in you, that's consumed you, things you've gone through in life, things that have destroyed you and hurt you. She helps you to release all of that sort of stuff. Okay, so who is she? Hecate is a goddess in Greek mythology who is associated with magic, witchcraft, and the underworld and crossroads. She was often portrayed as a woman with three faces or heads. So sometimes she is also seen with three bodies and three heads, or she could be seen with one body and three faces. And sometimes she's seen singular. It really depends on how she feels to show herself to you. Hecate is shown a lot in her pictures and her artifacts and things, holding torches or keys. Okay, she's always got two torches in her hands that represent lighting the path and the way for those that are lost, and the keys that are the openings to doorways and to new opportunities. Okay, Hecate is also known as one of the lunar goddesses, as she's associated with the dark moon. The lunar is most definitely associated with the dark moon. It is the darker side of the celestial seasons. Hecate's name comes from the Greek word meaning far away. This may be because she was originally a Titan goddess who was later adopted into the Greek pantheon. Or it may be because her realm is the unseen world of spirits and ghosts. Either way, Hecate is a goddess who exists outside of everyday reality and world. She's a very unique energy, and an energy that very much works on her own and does not stand under any other god or anything like that. The gods actually worship and respect her as well as her respecting them. So She is an energy of her own, and she has got so many aspects to her that makes her what she is. So she is very, very sorted by a lot of practitioners and stuff. She's really good to have in the craft, but she's not an energy just to start working with. You do need to do a lot of education, studying and research into her and understanding her ways, as you do with any of your gods and goddesses. In some known myths, Hecate is the daughter of the Titans Perseus and Astara. In other myths, she is the goddess of Artemis' companion or servant. Regardless of her heritage, what we do know is that Hecate was a powerful goddess in her own right and is the goddess to be honored when working with her. Hecate is associated with things in the craft such as witchcraft, the dark moon, ghosts and spirits, crossroads, magic, keys, doorways. She is also attached to the liminal areas of the world, which are where the dusk and the dawn arise. She is associated with those sorts of elements too. She does have some forms of connection with nature, but not nature as in she's a nature deity. She isn't, but she does have some connections due to the heritage of her mother and the fact that her father was a ruler of the land at one point. So yeah, she does have some connections though. So for Hecate, because of these associations, Hecate has been revered and feared throughout history. In some cultures, she was seen as a goddess who could protect homes and families from evil spirits. In other places and other cultures, she was associated with the bringer of death and disaster. Written by modern texts, written by some people that believe that when they came into the communication and connection with her, that they see those sides to her. And there is a destructive side to her, I guess, but not destructive in the way as in evil, destructive in the way that she gets rid of things that are not needed and not wanted, things that hold us back and things that are not good for us. You can call upon Hecate to get rid of things like demonic spirit energies and things like that as well. She is of the underworld, so she can help to remove those energies. And like I said, because of the dark aspect, those people out there that do like to do dark magic in the way as in evil can call upon her for certain things as well, but it never comes without a price, and it isn't through working with Satan. It's her energy. Disaster. It wasn't until recently that scholars began to see Hecate as the goddess of balance in the modern world. It is easy to see how Hecate could be seen as these portrays that she's been made to be like negative, bad, and you can see that because of her walks with the darkness. But it's not darkness as in evil. She's walked with darkness as in she knows how it is to struggle. She has seen life and death. She has seen things happen, and she has took that knowledge and been able to work with that, and with her energy and power that she has makes her significant in all of this as well. After all, she is associated with both light and dark, life and death, good and evil. Hecate, the goddess of that, reminds us that there is always another side to every story. She also teaches us that we all have the power to create our own reality. Hecate has different pronunciations, but at this point, unless she comes to you and tells you otherwise, there isn't a specific one way to confirm her name. Go with what feels best to you. She will understand, as I explained earlier. Hecate's symbols. The symbols Hecate the symbols that are aligned with Hecate include the Hecatean wheel, keys, serpents such as snakes, crossroads, daggers, crossed keys, and the two torches. Hecate's animals, spirits that are associated with her and come with her when she visits or is seen are the black dog. It has been said for black cats as well, owls, the meerkat, the weasel. Other symbolisms that may be connected or connection from Hecate include the colours black or the moon phase, dark moon, full moon, and the crescent moon. If Hecate were a tarot card, she would be the Tower because of her ability to bring down what is no longer working in our lives. Why is Hecate a triple goddess? A lot of people do ask that and go like, why was she made into a triple goddess? And this is it. In some artwork, Hecate is sometimes shown with 3 heads or 3 bodies. This is because she is known as the triple goddess. This means that she is a goddess who represents the 3 stages of womanhood: maiden, mother, and crone. Hecate's Roman name is Trivia, which means 3 ways. Her symbols reflect her role as a triple goddess too. The crescent moon represents the maiden, the full moon represents the mother, and the waning moon represents the crone, which is the wise one, the old lady. She is a triple goddess not due to her relation to womanhood, but also because of her connection with the 3 realms, earth, sky, and sea, which she was given domain over by Zeus, the god himself. She was originally a Titan goddess. She was born to Astara of the stars and Perseus of destruction. Her offspring include the plant nymphs and the lion. Hecate is also associated to crossroads, which are traditionally seen as a place where the worlds of the living and the dead can meet. So, some crystals that you can use to work with Hecate as well. What crystals are associated with Hecate, you ask? The sorts of crystals you would associate with Hecate include black tourmaline, onyx, hematite, and obsidian. These crystals are all grounding stones that can help us to connect with the earth. They can also protect us from negative energy and help us to release our fears. If you're looking for a crystal to help you connect with Hecate, black obsidian is a good choice, but all dark crystals are good. Obsidian is said to not only be great for protection and releasing fears, but they are great choices for scrying, for divination methods that could help us to connect with Hecate more deeply and personally. So what zodiac signs are associated with Hecate? With Hecate, it has been the Scorpio and Capricorn energy. Scorpio and Plutine signs are all about power, transformation, and death. Hecate also has a strong connection with the planet Saturn, which rules Capricorn. This planet is also about boundaries, structure, and discipline. It can also help us to let go of what is no longer serving us, so we move forward to meet our goals in life and spirituality. How to invoke Hecate's energy into your circular or your ritual circle and in life. Learn about her story and myths. Study her symbols and their meanings. Meditate on her energy and what it feels like around you. Maintain a garden of herbs, plants, and different poisons for your own knowledge and wisdom. Write down your dreams and visions. She is known as a goddess of prophecy. Use crossroads in your spell work. Work with her animal spirits in a protective way, such as the black dog, sometimes cats, owls, the polecat. There are other animals that are associated to her as well, like the ravens, and sometimes some people have seen her with spiders coming through as well. So there are different sorts of animals. There are more than the ones I am saying to you about. So by connecting with the animals that she loves, you could do that by donating to charities to do with animals, because she's really big about animals. Walk animals, take them out, look after them, care for them. She really loves people that do that, because she really does love dogs, and dogs are a sacred animal to her. And also take time out in wildlife and connect with wildlife and enjoy wildlife and enjoy nature. These are ways that Hecate likes people to be. Okay, she is a very distinct sort of energy, and she is a lot about respect. And she won't let you step out of line. If you do step out of line, she will kick your ass. She will tell you. She will make you know that you've stepped out of line. Believe me. Not in a hurting way, but you'll know not to do that again. Definitely not. How to connect with Hecate as a goddess in your practice. You can honor Hecate by buying jewelry and things that of symbols that are associated with her, that are enchanted with prayer and protection. You can celebrate Hecate's night, which is on the 16th of November, or the new moon, or anything that is closest to that date. Always call out to Hecate by her name. You can call out loud and with specific and clear boundaries and intentions. Always make sure you're clear, you're specific, and you know your boundaries. Dedicate a garden space to her for plants aligned to her, such as helllock, deadly nightshade, and belladonna. These are some of the plants that she's associated with. She does also like roses. Black roses are becoming a thing of Hecate as well. Make an offering to her at a crossroads, such as leaving flowers or food. If you are somebody that doesn't have somewhere where there's a crossroad, just having a shrine or having something at home that is represented to her is absolutely fine. And just do the same thing as you would do if you was at a crossroads. You can make an altar with her symbols, her keys, and her statue on it, and you can decorate it to her taste and your taste. You can work with her through tarot decks. Now, Hecate loves working with tarot decks, but if you are going to use tarot cards to work with Hecate, make sure that the cards you're going to use with her are cards that were only used with her and not with any other energy, okay? She is very much like that. So work with a Pacific tarot or oracle deck just for Hecate, for yours and her connection only, not bringing the other energies in. So I've got a Hecate tarot deck that is actually her deck of cards. It's in the Hecatean pack of cards. So they are the cards that I use to connect with her and to get any insight or any messages that I need from her. But you don't have to go out and buy her set of cards. You could just buy or be attracted to a card set that you like and dedicate them to just being for her to read through. Okay, that is what you can do. Lighting candles, lamps, and torches, or burning incense are another way of honouring Hecate, and it's definitely a way that she loves doing. I am constantly burning candles and incense sticks, believe me. Keep her secret space tidy and clean. Hecate does not like mess. She does not like dirt. She don't like anything like that. She likes places to be clean. So her space always needs to be clean. Yeah, if you're putting offerings and you're putting fruit and you're putting that up for a specific reason or way, then yeah, leave those things there. But when it comes to you just putting normal offerings out because you do it daily, make sure that you don't go leaving things like milk, because milk is one thing she likes along with red wine. Don't go leaving the milk on her altar for days. She doesn't like that. Make sure that that is something that you do on a daily basis. I intend to do a couple of hours where I give Hecate milk and I let her have that. And then I normally just put some water in the cup for the rest of it. I clean her little cup offering dish I've got for her. I clean it out, I put water in, and I use that for the rest of the day. I don't like to leave anything on Hecate's altar too long, apart from her food. She's fine with her food, but I wouldn't leave it any more than a day and a night. So each day, giving her fresh food and fresh water, or drink, whatever it is you're going to be giving her, is a really important thing. Also, specify how many times you can do it. I get that people do not have money. They don't expect you to do it every day, but if you're somebody that sits and says, I will give you food and drink every day, they're going to expect you to do that. So just make it specific. If you can only do it once or twice a week, only do it once or twice a week, guys. It is up to you to do that, but just make sure you make that clear to them, okay? And they will be absolutely fine. It's all about respect and honor to them. They help you. They get you through life's paths and difficulties. They support you and they guide you through difficult times. They guide you through your spirituality. They help you to awaken and to be yourself. So honor, respect to them is something that is most definitely important to any of your deities. Part 2, Hecates, talismans and amulets are one of the best ways to protect yourself magically. A talisman is an object that is infused with the power to help the wearer achieve a specific goal. So with these, like, these would normally be certain symbols and stuff that represent a certain procedure or spell or casting that you're doing. Okay, so for instance, if you're doing a protection spell, some people might draw down a pentagram onto a piece of paper, or they'll have a object of a pentagram, and they would use them to, and they would enrich them, empower them to with that energy, so that that goal is achieved. With the amulet, amulets, sorry, they are similar to the talismans, but it is worn to ward off negative influences or bad luck. Hecate's will is a talisman symbol that has been used since ancient times for protection and guidance, and sometimes luck as well is another thing that it's good for. So using certain symbols that represent her and wearing them, having them around your neck, so having bracelets, necklaces that might have some of her symbols and things like that, will keep you and your home and anywhere you go protected at that time from anything you do not want trying to attach to you. The Hecate's will talisman can be used in a variety of ways. The meaning for protective symbol is the perfect gift for all witches, as she is the mother of us witches. Okay, after all, she is our guide, she is our light at those tunnels that learn us how to be our true and inner goddess and our true and inner self as a witch. You know, she reminds us of our ancestral ways and the ways our ancestors would have been. She helps us to reclaim that power and that energy that once was hidden and once was stole from us by the savage ways that we were distinguished from the planet. Okay, so we are back here now with even stronger voices and even able to be ourselves now. So she very much helps us to bring that goddess and that inner energy and power out. Nobody should be made silent or be made to feel that what they follow and what they are is wrong because of other people's beliefs and experiences with other people that may be like us but do things completely the wrong way or a different way. I wouldn't say wrong because it's not wrong to them, but some of the things that some people do in the craft I don't agree with. I don't agree with, like, putting really nasty stuff up over people or anything like that. I don't like that sort of thing. I remove it. So, you know, but there are people out there, and even though they call themselves witches, they really do put us witches down. Witches are just wise people. That's what witch means, wise person. Um, People that are connected to the land and that. These people that do that sort of stuff, I wouldn't even call them witches. They're Satanists, and they're other types of, like, religion and faiths that they associate to being witchcraft, even though it's a lot darker than witchcraft. You know what I mean? So yeah, sadly we get branded with it because all of them, nonetheless, they still call up on energy, they still cast stuff, and they still use certain energies to do things. So sadly, we have to stick with that name. And Hecate is the mother of witches, as I was saying to you. So she helps you to walk your right path and to make sure that you shine for the right reasons and not for the wrong and selfish ways. The symbols of Hecate's wheel is a six-spoked wheel, also known as the Strophanus of Hekate. It is often seen in artwork depicting Hekate, the Greek goddess of magic, the crossroads, and the spirit. In modern use today, you'll see that this symbol is enjoyed by those in Wiccan and neo-pagan communities, and also some fellow solitary practitioners like myself. And they are also even seen in some sort of cults and artworks and other literatures that people do and write on different goddesses and gods and aspects of the craft. What does Hecate's wheel symbolize? Obviously, sitting here talking to you about this amazing piece of tool that is connected to her, it is really important to understand how this Hecate wheel works. So the six spokes of the wheel represents the six directions. Okay, so north, south, east, west, up, and down. The center of the wheel is often left blank, symbolizing the void or the unknowable or unseen. This is fitting as Hecate is associated with darkness and the shadows. Darkness and shadows, as in emotion and movement, change, removal of things that are not needed, destruction of things that are not good and do not serve us. And I don't mean destruction as in going and liberating it and that, but putting spells and castings on it that will remove that and make it so that we are no longer affected by it. These symbols were first discovered on a cursed tablet dated from the 5th century BC. Hecate's wheel is a powerful symbol that has been used for centuries by witches. It is often seen as a good luck talisman and is also thought to offer protection, blessings, and guidance to us witches, which is very true because I use it myself and it does. It's on a statue I have of her, and I have drawn it a couple of times. Tray sticks is quite hard to draw it, and it really does bring really good protection and stuff in your home, believe me. Hecate is a goddess who represents the dark aspects of life, such as transformation and the underworld. Her will is a representation of these things and can offer insight into our lives. The Strophanus is traditionally a spinning tool, one that we use from the ether by means of secret. Your lead them earthward is what would be read up on it, suggesting that the use of this symbol, this tool, is one that can be used to manifest something from a realm to the from a realm afar to the earthly and physical one, our world today. When we see Hecate's wheel, it can be a reminder that life is full of ups and downs. We all go through difficult times, but we also have the potential for great transformation within us and around us. If we are open to it, Hecate can guide us through these changes. Her will can also offer protection against negative energy and help us to focus on our goals. The way Hecate can guide us is by showing us the way and what we need the most. That is what she wants us to see. She wants us to only be after the things that are vital and important, not to be selfish and to be greedy. Depicted by keys and crossroads, she is a powerful goddess who can help us to find our way in the dark. When we wear her talisman, talisman, we also are tapping into her power and are inviting her guidance into our lives. If you don't have any, you can draw or order a symbol or statue dedicated to her. You can get these things very easily. You can get them online. You can get a nice piece of paper and draw the signs, symbols. You can get pieces of jewelry online. You can get statues and stuff online. So it is pretty easy to be able to get stuff to do with that. And if you're really creative, you could even make stuff for her as well. Hecate is one of these deities that really, really appreciates people that put love and time into things to do with her. And it symbolizes your friendship and your connection. If you are drawn to Hecate's will, it may be because you are going through a tough time, or because you are ready for some positive changes in your life. Either way, this powerful symbol can offer guidance and support. Why not take some time to learn more about Hecate and her history? That is really important. You may be surprised at what you might discover about her. You might find that she has so much to teach you about life and about yourself. And she is most definitely a goddess to call up on that. She has most definitely awakened me and made me see a lot of things. And she is helping me through some really tough and difficult moments and times at the minute as well. So she's most definitely an amazing goddess, and somebody that is associated to the shadow work that some of us need to do as well. Shadow work in general really is in everyday life. It's anything that we have to face that's not good, weighs us down, makes us doubt ourselves. All these things she helps you to get rid of. A way to connect with your spirituality tangibly, and a love a lovingly simple way to charge your Hecate's will and talisman and other gifts for her is by setting up a Saturn spear or selenite wand to cleanse and charge under the full moon, whilst holding your gorgeous blessed jewelry and other tools that you've got that are dedicated to Hecate. You are to envision your intent as a silver ball of mist and energy, traveling from your nearest crossroads to you, entering the talisman and filling it with charged light. State your intentions out loud 3 times and then let the moonlight seal its magic. If you don't have a selenite wand, no worries. You can use another type of crystal that would be associated with cleansing and protection and recharging. Salt is also another good thing you could use. You can also work with Hecate and do things for yourself to make this a more beautiful ritual between you by drinking some Greek mountain tea or mint, sage sage relating to Hecate, and let our goddess Hecate guide you. So, like drinking certain herbal drinks because she's very much into the herbalism. Drinking certain herbal drinks like mint, sages, even like a lavender, and that sometimes is really good for her as well. Just drinking certain things like that. Green mountain tea, if you get green mountain tea, things like that. Like they're all really good ways of being able to connect with her. They help you to go into your spiritual consciousness. They help you to be able to connect with her easier because these herbs are some of the herbs that she does relate to a lot and enjoys being around. You can light a candle in her honor and feel free to intuitively draw, sketch, or doodle your talisman in your vision or of another realm where you infuse it with more protective and benevolent energy. Benevolent is not evil, benevolent is the opposite. Okay, guys, before you start thinking malevolent, it's not malevolent, it's benevolent energy. Okay, So with this one, like if you're going into a ritual with Hecate where you're needing to like connect with her and you're wanting to bring say like her will out for instance into an area or a place, maybe you can do the dream travel where you're awake, but you can bring yourself into a dream state where you can astral travel and things like that. And maybe there are places that you've been and you've seen that you know are struggling from the energy and stuff that you're picking up. Well, you would be able to invoke Hecate to help you to be able to go to that place through your spirit. And also, she will help you to learn how to be able to draw that talisman, not on paper and by pen, but in your mind. See your mind, see your hand in your mind drawing that symbol and it's sticking there in the air. This is another way that you can communicate with her. Protection isn't always about going around with herbs and doing all these different things. Sometimes it's just as much as just envisioning a symbol of protection and see that and envision that being in place in that place that needs it. So that's another way. So part 3 is information on Hecate and working with her safely and correctly in the craft. Okay, so first we're going to talk to you about candle colors that are associated to her. So Hecate's primal associated colors are black, red, and white, as well as purple, orange, and silver, each carrying specific symbolic meanings related to her diverse aspects. Sorry. It is quite late at night, guys, so my words keep getting a bit jumbled. So the associated candle colours and their symbolisms. So black represents the underworld, the dark moon, necromancy. But a lot of people, when they hear the necromancy, they start thinking the negative side of it. They're like, oh my God, that's where you conjure up spirit. You use spirit to do evil. You bring out the dead. You make the dead come back to life. Things like that. Yeah, that is part of necromancy. But with Hecate, the necromancy side of it is where she learns you to be able to connect and speak to spirit, to be able to be in connection with the spiritual realm and to be able to be open to the spirits communicating and connecting with you. Okay, so necromancy and ghosts. It is primarily used for protection, banishing negativity, absorbing adverse conditions, and working with shadow aspects or spirits. So shadow aspects such as your shadow work, energy and rituals that maybe where people are needing certain people moved out of their life, or they're needing a certain situation put to bed, or anything that's just not serving you good. She'll be really good at helping you to do that. Red is associated with her role as a guardian aspect. It symbolizes fire, energy, passion, life, and strength. Red is also linked to her aspect of the cycle of life and death and can represent protection from enemies. White is associated with the moon, purification and clarity. It can represent Hecate's a luminous light aspect. Hecate's Prosophos, the light bringer. She is known as the light bringer as well, torch bringer, whatever you want to call her. It represents new beginnings and can be used for general protection or as a substitute for any other color candle if you do not have one. It also helps to enhance the third eye, connect with inner realms, and it is associated with her as the Queen of Witches and her spiritual power. Orange symbolizes the flames of Hecate's torches. Hecate's Dapotho, the torchbearer, creativity, vitality, and success. It can be used for guidance, mental stimulation, and attracting new opportunities. Her silver candles are associated with the moon, intuition, dreams, and neutralizing negative energy. It is often used to work with lunar cycles and to enhance physic insight. Then you've got saffron gold. Okay, in ancient poetry, Hecate is described as a saffron cloaked. The color, this color, a reddish orange gold hue, symbolizes her divinity, royalty, power, and abundance. The choice of colors often depend on the specific aspects of Hecate being addressed or the intrusion of the ritual. Many practitioners use a combination of candles such as black and white to represent balance, or black and white and red to honor her triple maiden mother crone aspect. White is attached to maiden, red is mother, and crone is black. Crystals associated to Hecate. Crystals associated with Hecate include black tourmaline, obsidian, lamb, labradorite, and moonstone. Well, with the other ones that I had also briefly set up the page as well, which symbolize her attributes such as protection, magic, transformation, and the underworld. Black tourmaline and obsidian are linked to her roles as a protector and the connections to the underworld, with labradorite representing magic and transformation, and moonstone is associated with her lunar and powerful feminine deity energy. So, black tourmaline symbolizes protection and grounding. The association aligns with Hecate's role as a guardian of the liminal spaces and a protector against negative energy and a guide for those facing spiritual changes. Black obsidian symbolizes the underworld and the spiritual realm. Association connects to Hecate's rules over the underworld, death, and the afterlife. Labradorite symbolizes magic, mysteries, and spiritual transformation. The association reflects Hecate's power in the mystical arts and her ability to guide individuals through transformative experiences and the unknown. Moonstone symbolizes feminine power, new beginnings, and new moon, associating to links to Hecate's association with the moon, particularly new beginnings and the cycles of life and death. Red jasper symbolizes her strength, courage, and vitality. The associations connect Hecate's ancient and powerful nature and can be used to ground rituals and to connect her earthly energy. Hematite symbolizes protection, grounding, and strength. Her association works with the dark stones to protect against negative energy and to provide a strong connection to the earth and to the underworld, which are both connected. So, amulets and symbols associated with Hecate. Amulets associated with the Greek goddess Hecate often incorporate her key symbols: the wheel of Hecate, the Strophilus, keys, torches, serpents, and the triple moon. Key amulets and association items. The wheel of Hecate is this is one of the most prominent amulets associated with Hecate. It is an ancient Greek symbol typically depicted as a wheel with six spokes and a labyrinthine serpent pattern within. It is used as a talisman for protection, guidance, and spiritual transformation. Keys. Hecate is known as the holder of keys, which symbolizes her ability to unlock gates between mortal world and the spiritual realm and the underworld, as well as associating hidden knowledge and mystical secrets. Key amulets are popular for protection and guidance. Torches. Hecate is often depicted holding a pair of torches, which represent her role as the light bearer, illuminating the darkness, guiding travelers, and leading souls through the underworld. Amulets with torches imagery represents clarity, enlightenment, and guidance. Serpents, snakes. Serpents are secret to Hecate, symbolizing transformation, rebirth, wisdom, and healing. They are often featured on amulets, sometimes entwined around other symbols like the key or the strophanthus. The triple moon and triple goddess symbol is in modern practice. The triple moon symbol, crescent, full, and waning moon, is often used in Hecate's amulets, reflecting her connection to the moon phases, intuition, and her threefold aspect: maiden, mother, and crone, or domain over earth, sea, and sky. Her favourite and most secret animal is dogs, where Hecate's secret animal and constant companion, often thought to be spirits of demons who accompanied her, was less common as jewelry, amulets, statues, or images of dogs can be used on altars or in shrines for household protection. These dogs are not demons. This is just what some people put over to them. They are just black dogs that are her companions. They help her to carry her messages. They help souls to go to the other side, and they do a lot of different of work aspects to do with Hecate. The dogs in Hecate's primary and most common animal association. The howling of the dogs was believed to herd was believed to be herald her approach, letting people know that Hecate was around and things like that. Symbolism: dogs represent protection, loyalty, and intrusion. They are creatures of the threshold, guarding the boundaries between the living world and the underworld. Mythological context. In later mythology, the dogs were thought to be the restless souls of the dead or demons that accompanied her. One myth tells of the Trojan queen Hecuba being transformed into a black dog and becoming Hecate's devoted companion. This dog is also associated with childbirth and nurturing, linking to Hecate's protective aspect. The moon's monstrous three-headed dog, Cerberus, guardian of Hades gates, is also a dog and a energy that is known by Hecate due to her knowings of the underworld. Polecat or weasel or marten. A polecat is another frequent companion of Hecate, symbolizing the links to deception and the world of magic. Mythological context. In the metaphysical myth, the midwife Galanthus or the witch Gaia was transformed into a polecat as punishment for deceiving the gods during the birth of Hercules. Hecate took pity on her and adopted her as a secret attendant. Serpents. Hecate is often depicted with serpents either held in her hands or twining through her hair and crown. Symbolism. Snakes are symbols of rebirth and regeneration because they shed skin. They are also associated with chthonic underworld powers and the ancient wisdom. Other associated animals. In various depictions and traditions, Hecate has also been associated with lions, associated with Hecate in early artwork and literature from Asia. Minor possibilities symbolizing a connection to other worlds, near uh, Eastern goddess like Cybele and Inanna. Horses. Sometimes Hecate is described as a horse face or as a equestrian. The horse is considered a chthonic animal in some traditions and can symbolize her fiery soul or be interpreted as a
daemon serving her in the underworld realms. Bulls and cows. In the Chaldean oracles, Hecate is described as a bull-faced, symbolizing her connection to the moon and its cycles, waxing and waning crescent horns, and her reign over celestial and earthly realms. Owls and bats. These creatures of the night are linked to Hecate's domain over darkness, magic, and the unseen. Frogs, due to their ability to live in two elements, water and land, frogs are seen as liminal creatures sacred to Hecate. Red mullet fish. This fish, Greek trigal, was sacred to Hecate due to the resemblance of its name to her triple form, triple, Trimophis, and its blood's red colour. Other animals less common but still associated animals include frogs, lions, toads, cats, owls, and dragons. These are all other creatures that are associated to her. Offerings for Hecate. So, offering Hecate for at Hecate include food items such as garlic, egg, honey, and red wine, bread. She does like cakes as well. Herbs like lavender and mugwort. Symbolic items like keys, candles, and incense are other items, such as other items are dark chocolate, cheese, and pastries. Traditionally, these offerings are placed on an altar and then taken outside to crossroads or a secret space. Again, if you don't have a crossroads or you don't have a place or an area like that, you can do it to the altar and the area that you have dedicated to her. Okay, guys, just do what you would do at the crossroads in your home. Food and drink. Garlic, a traditional offering for protection. Eggs, a common offering symbolizing the life cycle. Honey and cakes, offerings for honor and sweetness. Red wine, a popular libation often spiced with honey or herbs. Other foods, leeks, onions, grains, bread, cheese, mushrooms, and pastries are also given. Symbolic and ritual items. Incense, frankincense, myrrh, sage, and lavender are frequently used for Hecate. Keys. As a goddess of keys, she is honored with physical keys or symbolic representations. So, drawing them down or ones that you've made yourself out of wood, anything, just something that is in the shape of a key, even to drawing it down and things. As long as there's something there that represents that aspect of her, that is fine. Candles burned to honor her during ceremonies. Due to her light and her torches that she carries, she is a goddess that likes to illuminate and bring light and bring opening to others. So, always lighting up candles and things like that are a really good way of connecting to Hecate and are ways you should use in ceremonies to do with her. Crystals, as I said, was moonstone, obsidian, um, onyx, and a few of the other ones that I said. These are normally offered to her, but moonstone and obsidian are two of the most common ones that are given to Hecate a lot. Other symbolic items are feathers, apples, and dates. They can be used to give to Hecate as well. Ooh, herbal and natural items. Herbs, lavender, mugwort, wormwood, and yew leaves are frequently used in offerings and using in rituals to do with Hecate. Flower offerings of flowers or leaves can be made to her. Now, Hecate likes any forms of flowers and leaves, okay? She is really into that sort of stuff, but she is partial nowadays, and it is becoming more known in the craft. She does love black roses or any form of rose as well, but black roses are becoming popular to her. But put any flowers out to her and she will be happy and grateful for that. Other methods of honor. Charitable giving. As Hecate was seen as a protector of the poor, acts of charity are also considered an offering to Hecate. So giving money over to charities for people that are poor and that are living on the street, or to charities to do with animals. Anything where you are showing care and kindness and goodness is most definitely a way of getting on Hecate's favourite list. Okay. Cleaning and upkeep. Hecate is associated with care of graveyards. So she very much represents keeping the secret spaces and places cleaned. So this is her altar, her places of worship, but also places where she is associated, being a worker and goddess of the dead, helping to guide the dead. She is always known to be in places like graveyards and stuff. So keeping graveyards and secret places to the dead clean and tidy is another way of pleasing Hecate. Important considerations to be taken with Hecate. Personalize your offerings. The most meaningful offerings are those that are personally significant to you. Okay, Hecate is one of these goddesses that she doesn't want you to be like anybody else. Okay, she wants you to be in your own magic, your own power, and your own aspects. Okay, she believes strongly in you walking and being in your own essence and your own way, whether you're a man or you're a woman. Okay, you bring out your goddess aspect, you bring out your god aspect. We all have that within us. She believes in this 100%, and she believes very much in that we have the capability to mark our own way in life if we choose to do that. So she helps you to do these sort of things and helps you to understand that. So definitely make sure that when you're going to work with her and you're going to be open to her, make some of the stuff that you do to her personal. Write her music, write her a poem, sing and dance to her, make jewelry in association with her and give a piece of that jewelry to her, something that is meaningful between you and her and your relationship. Hecate loves that, and that's something you should really consider with all your gods and goddesses, but especially her. Place offerings at crossroads is a traditional spot, but any secret, quiet intersection where you can place them safely is appropriate. So for some of you, you might be disabled, you might have something wrong with you, you might not be able to get out or get to places. You can make it within your home. As long as you've got the symbols, you've got her statue, and you've got things that represent her, you can do it at home and give her offerings and stuff at home. She will come to you wherever you are. Okay. And another thing that's really important to Hecate is respect and sincerity. She does not like being lied to. She does not like people to think that they can fool her, because she can see in all three directions. She sees any crap, anything that's coming towards her before it even happens. So if you're somebody that's going in and working with her falsely and you're pretending to be something that you're not, be aware. She will make that known. Do not go peeing her off. Believe me, she is a good energy, but she has got the dark aspects to her as well. If you mistreat her and you don't respect her and what she is, woo, is all I'm going to say. Perform rituals with respect and sincerity, and it is considered proper to walk away without looking back after leaving offerings. Hecate is one of these goddesses that when you leave the offerings, you do not stare or look at her when you do it. When you've laid those offerings to her and you've gave them to her in honor and respect, do not turn back and look at her when you have left the offerings. Just keep walking, okay? This is just a way that she is, okay? Now, I'm not saying that everybody does that. Some people do look back at her and it doesn't affect them, but if you're somebody that's new in this and you don't really know how to work with her energy, you've not built that relationship with her yet, and you're just learning to, don't look back at her when you're leaving her offerings. Just leave her to do her thing. Another way is regular prayers dedicated to Hecate, done daily, are another offering. This is an offering of honor and respect, also calling to her for guidance and wisdom and help. is also another mark of offering and respect that she very much likes as well, guys. One thing with Hecate, it's not always about giving her offerings of foods and drinks and stuff. Hecate is a deity that, if you've got the most darkest of things going in your life, say you've been through some of the most traumatic times and you've got all of this horrible stuff inside of you, and you've got these different memories and these different things that you just can't seem to let go, offer them to Hecate and to Hecate's dogs. When you're going to come into communication with Hecate, you're always going to see her dogs first. So always offer them an offering. They normally want like any of your sad and bad sort of memories, so they can take them and bury them. And then when you come to Hecate, they're more of the secret and personal pain that you go through, and things that hold you back. Offer that to her, and she'll take that as an offering as well. Another way that she loves as well is music, dance, and singing. These are another way and method that you can do to Hecate. She absolutely loves being honoured through music, through dance, and through singing. It is a mark of respect to her, and it invokes Hecate's energy when we need her guidance, help, and wisdom. So, doing these things not only benefits us, but it also helps us to be able to walk on our path as well. This is the whole point of doing these sort of offerings and rituals, is because you're wanting to give those things over to Hecate, and you're wanting to move forward in your energy. You're wanting to leave the past behind, and you're wanting to be able to move forward. You want to be able to not be affected by these things. Hecate can help you with the dark aspects of your life, as well as helping you with your spirituality and witchy side. So, here I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to invoke Hecate the correct way. Invoking Hecate involves a blend of respect, sincerity, and following certain realistic steps that have developed over time in various traditions, from ancient Greek practices to modern witchcraft, as she is associated with Greek, that the Greek aspect. She was adopted into the Greek philosophy, but she is a Titaness. Okay, that's what they say, that she is the daughter of Perseus and Astara. But there are other gods and goddesses apparently that are associated that could possibly be her parents. Hecate's heritage is not fully understood. The most important aspect are clear intentions and respect when you work with Hecate and you call on Hecate for anything that you're needing help in. Always have a clear and open intention. Always be respectful and honourable to her, and never ever see yourself as above her. She looks at you as an equal, so look at her as an equal and somebody that you respect. Okay. Key principles: respect and intention. Sorry. Approach the invocation with genuine reverence and a clear, honest intention for why you seek her presence of guidance. The sincerity of your call matters more than the elaborate tools that you're going to use. Okay, so your intention and what you're needing her for is really important. And make sure that when you're going to her and you're asking her to do these things, that you're asking them in the correct way and not a way of being evil or dark. Okay, just be nice and ask her to help you. Yes, you might have a difficult situation. You might need to do something to rid something, but never ever do it in a negative way. Okay. Timing. Hecate is strongly associated with the night, particularly the dark moon phase, the last day of the lunar month. A powerful time for her worship and for introspection and releasing the old to make way for the new. So with Hecate, nighttime rituals are really, really, really good to do with her. She is more of a goddess that walks at night. She is the goddess of night. She is the queen of night. So a lot of people will work with Hecate in the dark moons, and they will work with her when it is the evening time. and the sun is no longer up, because that is when she is mainly known to be out, firing off her torches, helping any soul or anybody that is lost, whether you're past or you're living. So, yeah. And it's all about symbolizing and releasing the old stuff, the things that don't serve us anymore, the things that just do not ring right to us anymore, do not help us anymore. This is the time that you can release them, making a new path and a new way for new things coming into your life. Another important aspect is location. She is the goddess of crossroads, boundaries, and transitional spaces. A physical crossroad is a traditional location for offerings, but a personal altar or secret space in your home is also appropriate for Hecate. Okay. If you do not have a place that you can go to, maybe you're too scared to go to a graveyard and you don't want to stand in a graveyard at night and do that, then it's fine to do it at home, guys. Okay. Do not worry yourselves about that. Offerings. Offerings are a central part of the practice when it comes to Hecate, and it is tradition to be offering her these things. And you would do this to all of your gods and goddesses when you're calling out and asking them for help. Some of us even just put offerings out for them when we're not asking them for anything. I'm one of them. So as long as you make it clear how many times a week you can do an offering to them. If you say that you're going to do it every day, do it every day. Do not let them down. But if you can't do it every day and you don't have a lot of money, just say, I'll do an offering to you once a week, twice a week, whatever. As long as you let them know, that is important, because making offerings to them, especially when you're asking them to do things, they don't have to help you, but they do and they choose to. Okay. And if they're going to be respectful enough to give their knowledge and their way to you, always be respectful to give back. Never take to not give back. That's why things would not be going right in your life, possibly. You can't take and then expect to not give back, because there's things don't always go right. Symbolic items like keys representing unlocking mysteries, torches, or candles representing guidance through darkness, and images of dogs, snakes, or owls, which represent as secret animals, and animals that have a distinct link and meaning, which I have said throughout this piece of writing. I have told you as well that this one is going to be a long one. We still haven't even done Cernunnos yet. Okay, so this is going to be pretty long. So here I've got a step-by-step invocation. One of the invocations that you can do to call out and to communicate with Hecate. First, you have to start with preparing and cleansing, okay? So the first thing you need to go and do is wash your hands and ensure your space is clean for Hecate by saging Salamanto, Palo Santo woods, sandalwood, sages, lavenders, different herbs, salts, all these sort of things to cleanse your home, okay? Then you need to be grounding yourself in deep breathing through meditation, visualizing your energy connecting with the earth and then connecting to Hecate. Okay. Then you need to set up your altar with relevant items and light candles. Black, white, and red are common choices for rituals to Hecate. So you will get your ritual pieces together, you will set your altar up, you will light your candles, and you would then do your deep breathing, thinking into your meditation, and you will start to visualize seeing Hecate coming in to your mind's eye. Okay, this is the way to start with communicating with her. And then this is the other part of the instruction. Stand or sit comfortably and address Hecate directly. In ancient Greek practice, prayers to gods were offered with hands lowered towards the ground and eyes averted, meaning looking directly at them. Then you call upon her using her name, a specific word that relates to what you need her for, e.g., Hecate, Soteria, for a savior aspect, Hecate, Dodicus as the torchbearer or queen of witches and keeper of crossroads, Hail Hecate is commonly used in rituals and prayers to call on Hekate as well. Hecate, Hekate, you can call them whatever. You can use traditional hymns like the Orphic hymn to Hecate, or speak your own words from your heart. A simple invocation might be, Hecate, mighty goddess of the crossroads, by candlelight I seek your presence, guidance. Just let me start that again, sorry guys. My eyes are going blurry. You can use traditional hymns like the Orphic hymn to Hecate, or speak these words. A simple invocation such as, Hail Hecate, mighty goddess of the crossroads, by candlelight I seek your presence, guide me with your wisdom and ancient knowledge. Hear my call, O gracious Hecate. So might it be, blessed be. As I will it, so might it be, whatever you wish to say. Okay. Um, Then you would stand there, you would state your intention. So, for instance, if you're there doing this and you're calling out to her and you're needing an aspect for protection, you would then say that I am needing your guidance, goddess, in my protection. And you would say what you're needing protection for. So, I'm needing protection for my home. I'm needing protection for me and for my family. And I need the protection from so and so. If somebody is causing you problems or something in your life that's not good is happening, you can ask for protection from that. Always make your views and your needs very clear. Okay, don't just ask her to come and give you protection because she'll just fly it everywhere. You need to literally be distinct and be on point about what it is you're needing her to help you with. You need to do this with any of your gods and goddesses. It's not just as simple as just standing there and saying, I just need protection. You need to say what you need protection for, just as like you need to say what you would need for luck or for love or happiness or anything like that. You need to state what you want to get what you want. Okay, so state it, but be respectful and don't be greedy. All I'm going to say. You can place Hecate's offerings on the altar or on the ground. Okay, this creates a balanced relationship where you give honor in exchange for her favor you ask of. Okay, so Hecate is very much one of these goddesses where a lot of people actually do put her food to the floor to symbolize the crossroad aspects of her and things like that. Okay, and because in a lot of traditions, when you're doing something secret, you would bring food to a place and you would place it to the floor for the spirits and the energies to come and feast with you. So, putting it to the ground for Hecate is an amazing thing. But if you don't want to put it on the ground or you can't quite get to the ground, put it on a table for her. And it just shows that relationship and that balance between you both. And it's a way of you showing her honor for her helping you. And you should do that with all your deities. Not all of them like their food on the floor, though. I'm just saying, like, your offerings. Listen and reflect. Spend time in quiet contemplation or meditation. Be open to receiving messages, signs, or inner guidance. Hecate likes to communicate through intuition, dreams, or divination tools. Her main tools is tarot cards, but you can use pendulums, dowsing rods, scrying mirrors to connect to Hecate too. But yeah, her favorite way of communicating and connecting with you is definitely through tarot cards. She does come to you in dreams and stuff as well. She she's very good at being in you intuitively as well, speaking through your mind as well. Scrying and stuff is, yeah, scrying definitely is another way that you can work with her. Using a dark black mirror where you can't see anything and it normally will just form shapes of things that she's wanting to show you or of her herself or any of the energies that were around her as well. So yeah, these are all really interesting ways. But again, using tools and stuff, always make sure that you look into your research for protection, and how to use these tools correctly so you don't go doing anything silly. And I wouldn't recommend you doing that when you're just learning and coming into the craft. That's something that you would do in later life, learning to do your scrying and stuff like that. Stick to the more basics like your card readings and stuff for the beginning. Then obviously after you've done all of this and you've called out to Hecate and you've done all of this stuff and you've said what you need, you would close your ritual. Okay, so always thank Hecate for her presence and associate assistance to you. Always show her respect and honor for helping you, and always dismiss her. I'd say to her it's okay for her to leave, and thank her for her help. That is really important to do, and you do that to any of your gods and goddesses. Then you will blow or put out your candles. Now, a lot of people are different. There are people that blow out candles. I'm a big believer in don't blow your candles out, because when you blow your candles out, you're blowing out every piece of work or intention you have ever done in your life. Okay. So don't blow your candles out, in my opinion. Use a snuffer or something that will suffocate the energy of the candle, but keep the energy where it needs to be. Okay. But there are others out there that do blow the candle out. So maybe working with that, do a couple of not so important rituals. Do not do it to Hecate. Just do a normal ritual to the universe for protection. Say, do 2 different protection spells, yeah, and call out to the universal energy, blow out one and snuff one out, and see, do them at different times, and just see if both of them worked, and you can do either way. Or you may have blown out one and it didn't work and it didn't come light, but you snuffed one out and that one was okay. So you need to really learn your boundaries and what's okay for you and what isn't, because what might be okay for one person may not be okay for another. I'm not saying that everybody should do the snuffing out of candles. There's people that can't snuff out candles, it just don't get on with it. They prefer to blow. But I've always been the snuffing out candle one. When you've finished and you've done all of that sort of stuff, unless it's food that's okay to leave on Hecate's altar, leave it there. But if it's food that's only going to last for a couple of hours or something like that, after you've finished the rituals and you've done what you've done, leave it sitting for about an hour after, so she can enjoy the luxuries and any of her energies that are with her that have been helping her too. Then thank her, say, I hope that you enjoyed your offerings, Hecate, and then you can disguise of them. You can either throw them in the bin, or if they're safe to put outside and they're not harmful to animals or to the natural world, put it outside away from your house and the animals can have it. Okay, but really make sure that the food you're putting out there and stuff is safe first. And I don't recommend you putting things like alcohol and that out. You could throw the alcohol into the grass and give it back to Mother Earth and Mother Nature. Just say, I give this to you, Mother Earth, I give this to you, Mother Nature, whatever, you know. But yeah, if it's foods like berries and stuff like that, it's fine to leave that on the altar. But if you're going to be using things like sponge cakes and you're going to be using food that's not going to last very long, or you're going to put an offering of milk out, do not leave it overnight. Make sure you remove them off her altar after a couple of hours of the ritual being done. She does not like being left with food that is not edible, and she certainly doesn't like her area being messy, and that is considered messy to her. So I know this. I, in time and through my working with her for all these years, I've learned how to not be with Hecate and how to be. Okay, and we have a really good relationship because of that. So it's really important to just remember that Hecate is a powerful goddess with many ways to connect to her. Okay, so be respectful, be honest, and be open-minded, and be open-hearted with her at all times. Her energy is very powerful and is to the point. Working with Hecate will not be for everyone, and be prepared to work having her in your life. I hope you have enjoyed learning about this aspect of Hecate, and we are now going to be moving on to the next part. So we're going to just take that part off so I know that I've done that. Yeah. So we're now going to go into the second part of this. So Hecate, goddess worship. So the cult of the goddess is in mainland is Greece, but it wasn't so popular over there at times for worship, and obviously because of the Olympians. The goddess had few dedicated temples throughout the ancient world. However, it was common practice to include her smaller household shrines. These shrines were erected to ward off evil and to protect the individuals from witchcraft, that is evil. In the Greek world, Hecate's most prominent cult centers were in Caria in Asia Minor and El- uh, Eleusis and the Isle of Somporos. I hope I am saying that, but these are Greek places, and mm, yeah. So Hecate wasn't really one of the goddesses that had really massive big temples and had loads of things put out to her, but she was a goddess that was highly respected and followed by many people. And her shrines and ways of life were normally put within people's homes and at doorways outside, because it's said that that is where the crossroads and the dimensions to openings between this world and other worlds are meant to be, and these are also the places you would leave Hecate her offerings to when you're at home, obviously. In Smotheros, the goddess was worshipped as the goddess of mysteries. Evid- Evidence of her worship has likewise been discovered in Thessaly, Thrace, Colophon, and the Athens. But with her cult carried out in the temples of other gods, the later two cities bear evidence of the sacrifices of dogs. Now, it was said that in the olden days, people would sacrifice animals to give to Hecate. Dogs were one of them that they would sacrifice and that. But over time, um, and through my work, Hecate's really protective of dogs and stuff like that. And it's not a way that a lot of people would do anymore. This was an old, really ancient way that people felt that they should worship her, giving her dogs because of their purity and their spiritual awakening and all of that sort of stuff. But we do not do that anymore. Hecate was the goddess of most worshipped by the people of Aegina, who believed that Orpheus established the rights of the goddess on their island. Pausanias also describes a wooden image of Hecate located in the Eginetun temple. Although Hecate does not have a Homeric hymn in her honor, she has several orphanic hymns. In fact, the collections of orphanic hymns open with a hymn dedicated to the goddess. This is significant because of her roles as a goddess of Earth's wane and entries. The orphanic hymn to Hecate reveals a lot about her. Spurs of influence are perceived by the Orphanics. In their mysteries, she was the goddess of roads and the crossroads and invoked as such. In the Chandalian oracle, Neo Neoplatonist text written in the 2nd and the 3rd century CE, further ancient doctrine related to Hecate survived. The text focused on the world being dual in nature. One part it is the transcendent mind, while the other is the physical creator. Hecate is described as a membrance that separates these powers of thought and the physical world. As such, she is described as the world soul. In a sense, this seems to describe Hecate as the embodiment of the spiritual realm. She is what exists between the physical mundane world and the divine thirst. She seems to represent the spiritual energy that mankind can tap into, and therefore ideas of magic and witchcraft are apparent. Today, Hecate is one of the most popular goddesses from the Greek world since. As a goddess of witchcraft, she has been adopted into modern day Wicca and occult practices. Hecate and other triple goddesses like her are the inspiration for the maiden mother crone goddess of modern Wicca. So, a few little questions they might ask. So, how is Hecate pronounced? Well, to be honest, a lot of people pronounce her Hekate. Okay. Another way is Hecate. Over in Greece and places like that, they would spell it Hekate. So two E's instead of one. And this was also done in the early and middle times of English language. Shakespeare was said to be one of the people that often would depict and talk about Hecate, and actually had her in some of his shows and things that he would do. So English is particular. Shakespeare's plays, her name was pronounced Hekate, even though it was spelled with the final E in the end. Shakespeare was so influential that it influenced transitions of ancient text with Hecate in it well into the 19th century, even though both the Greek and the Latin include the E. Okay, so a lot of context and stuff was wrote by a lot of high classed people in those days, and a lot of them did become connected to the more mainstream religions, where a lot of these gods and goddesses were demonized and suddenly were made. Once they were these energies that would be worshipped and loved, and then suddenly when these new rules and new ways of life came in, suddenly they were demon, they were negative, they were evil, even though they are not. So there's a lot of stuff happened. So who was Hecate in the Greek mythology? Hecate was the goddess in Greek mythology associated with magic and witchcraft. She was considered the teacher of witches, but also had the powers to protect against witchcraft if it was negative. Okay, she was considered to occupy liminal spaces, including crossroads and gateways, and those often functioned as the protector of both crossroads and the home. As a liminal goddess, she could also move between worlds of the living and the underworld. The underworld is the spiritual realm, okay? Making her a chthonic goddess associated with necromancy. Now, there is a lot of stuff about necromancy. There is different aspects of necromancy. Now, in the really bad, cold, dark, evil magic, they may use certain things to do with the dead, okay? And in some apparent, they would call on Hecate's energy for that. But in later association, and through scriptures and stuff read about her, Hecate was more about connecting with the dead, okay, and helping people to communicate and to help the other side, and to help the other side to be able to bring things that would be, meaningful and beneficial to our world, okay. So when people hear the word necromancer, then straight away they're like, oh my god, like she was really negative. No, she wasn't really negative and really bad. She just has that connection with the dead, and because of the light and the dark aspects, a lot of stories and stuff have been wrote and said about her, and we can't really say what she's really done. I can't say that I've ever seen her erupt a dead person or try to bring anything negative out to me, because she hasn't. So I go by what I learn and I see with her. She was also the goddess of night, with darkness considered a liminal area, and was those often considered a moon goddess and associated with our lunar goddess, such as Artemis and Selene. Okay, so she's been very much associated with other moon goddesses and stuff like that. She is a goddess of the liminal realms, which are the realms between the lights of dusk and dawn. Okay, these are worlds in between the physical and the spiritual world. This is where spirits will first go to, and where she will guide you to where you need to be going. So, what are the symbols and attributes to Hecate? The Hecate symbol includes two torches representing the way she brings light and darkness. Keys represent gateways, and dogs often associate with both the underworld and protection. She was often presented as a triple goddess with one face looking out in each direction at the crossroads. Hecate and other triple goddesses inspire the maiden mother and the crone goddess in modern Wicca, with Hecate often representing the crone aspect, which is the elder aspect, and the one that has lived life, seen life, experienced life and death. She is the wise one. She is the one that has all of the education, all the teaching, and she knows all things possible. So she is the one that you would go to. She is the crone aspect mainly. How was Hecate worshipped in ancient Greece? Hecate was worshipped in household shrines alongside other household gods and shrines. She didn't really have her own place of worship. Most of the people that worshipped Hecate and dedicated to Hecate would do it from home and from doorways and things like that. People were said to, like I said, give offerings of like dogs and puppies and stuff to her, like in the olden days. In the olden days, magic and stuff was a lot different to what it is now. Spells and rituals us witches do for our goddess Hecate. Spells and rituals with Hecate include crossroad offerings, especially with garlic, eggs, and wine, divinization using tarots or scrying, protection spells like those using black candles, and rituals for banishing and transformation. Practitioners often honor her through nighttime rituals, meditations at crossroads, invoking her during the dark moon, and using her symbolism in their practices. Some of the rituals and spells, crossroads rituals. Hecate is strongly associated with crossroads. Okay, so with that means that she works within liminal spaces. So using liminal spaces like crossroads and places like that are a perfect way to do her rituals, and also to be placing her offerings at these places as well. And this is normally done at night because that is the best way to communicate and to connect with her. Offerings, as we've just said, traditional foods and drinks offerings include like garlic, eggs, fish, cakes, breads, wines, grains, milk, all these sort of things. Take them all down to her place at the crossroads, or if you don't have a crossroads at your home, and just put little things out. You don't have to do a whole meal for her. You could just give her a bit of what you're having. It doesn't really matter, but always like think of her in a divinization, seeking guidance and insight through tools like tarot cards, runes, or scrying is a common practice for Hecate. So learning that would be a really good way because it'll help you to be able to communicate, and it'll be an easier way for her to be able to communicate and give you messages and things like that. Transformation rituals are another one. Hecate can be used to embrace personal change, m- mutate, mutation, and the life within death's cycles. Okay, so she very much can help you to understand about death. She a lot of what she works with is to do with death, um, and learning you how to work and to understand death, how death transforms you, and that even in death, life carries on. She learns you about a lot of these things, and learns you that even in death there is a cycle on the way as well. Okay, so really good goddess for that. Invocations and meditation are another way that you can work with Hekate. Prayer or chant will be a perfect way to be able to work with her. Now you can either look for these things online, or you can take templates of certain prayers and then maybe write your own words, or just do it from scratch from your heart and from yourself. Definitely, yeah, that is really important. Meditation to connect and to get message and to be with her, and obviously invocations to call upon her energy, so that she can guide you and help you through things like your meditations and your work with spells, and even like your connections and communication that you try to do at crossroads and other secret areas as well. Spirit communication. Hecate can be included in spirit communication or necromancy practice through the attitudes on there were conflicting in ancient times. So obviously with the necromancy, a lot of people looked at that in a lot of different ways. We know, in today's period, know that necromancy falls under several different things, not just rising the dead and things like that, but it's also to attributed with the dead being passed and communicating with them and stuff like that. So um, Hecate is very much associated with that. She walks in the underworld as well as our world and the spirit, the heaven. She is known as a holy energy as well. Um, so she's both, as I said. So when you're working with her and stuff like that, she does work with the dead, and she guides souls and stuff. So if you are somebody that's got abilities and attributes, and you are somebody that connects with the other side, but you need a little bit more help, Hecate will be the one that can help you to do that. How to perform rituals when it comes to Hecate, okay, guys? So prepare an altar with symbols, candles, and items that represent her. Incorporate traditional elements like torches or obsidian crystals and other amulets and other things that she is into, such as dogs, crows, owls, her will, different herbs and oils and other things that she's into, crystals, stuff like that. Get all of the things that would be associated with her that you have and put them onto the altar, guys. Then the next thing to do is to invoke. Begin by invoking her presence through prayer, invocation, or chanting her name and titles. Invoke her to join you in the ritual space. So obviously Hecate has a lot of different alternatives and ways that you call out to her. She is not just one goddess of one thing. She is the goddess of the crossroads. She is the mother of witches. She is the triple goddess. She is the goddess of the liminal and boundary realms. She is the queen of darkness and light. She is so many different things. So there are so many different names that you would call out for different aspects. Obviously, there'll be certain things that she represents to in a crone aspect, in a mother aspect, and in a maiden aspect, and in all of the other forms and elements that she works within. So when you're doing specific spells and invocations and prayers, always make sure that you write the invocations and the prayers and the chants and stuff that you're going to write to what you're wanting her to help you with. It's really important to do that. Then next you will do the performance of the rituals. Okay, conduct the specific ritual you've planned. So whatever it is that you're reaching out to her for help for, write that down or say it in your head or say it out loud, but make it as clear for her to be able to take that in. So you could cast things like your spells for a specific purpose, a divination session, and meditating on that purpose and manifesting it. All of these are ways for you to be able to perform rituals. You do not always have to necessarily stand there and cast a spell and use your wands and other things like that. Sometimes it's just as much as doing meditation and envisioning and manifesting that within the mind. What you've got to remember is your tools are not what are magic at the beginning. You are the magic person. You're the person with that energy within you. Even though your tools and your herbs and other things you work with have a specific energy that works for specific ways in the world, that energy that that plant has, while it's in your goodness, it's not in its natural habitat anymore. Okay, it's in another place now. So that energy does not work the same as it would when it was in nature. So you do need to put your energy and your magic into those tools for them to work. As they're not going to work, they're not going to do anything. So you got to believe in what you're doing as well. So you perform the intention, you give clear opening to what you're wanting to do. You call upon her or you meditate, you do whatever way you wish, but always make sure that you've got a candle lit and that you do a prayer before and after. Always invite her in and always make sure that you release her and let her go. Okay, you do that with all your deities. Okay, then after that, obviously, doing the ritual and stuff like that, you would do the thanks, and then you would close your circle, and then you would release her and thank her again at the end as well. Release her, and then you would leave yourself to just clean up, removing any of the offerings that are not good to keep overnight. The ones that are okay to stay, keep on our altar, but the other ones, throw them away, or if they're safe to go outside, like I said earlier, you can give them outside, and the animals and Mother Earth and Mother Nature can enjoy those beautiful gifts. Some people will go and leave them at crossroads and stuff, or places that are known to be like between the worlds and stuff like that as well. So you could do things like that. So I'm hoping that this information of our goddess Hecate has helped you to understand a little bit more about her. She is a very misunderstood deity because of some of the things that she is associated with, because of the way that people are educated and the way that we've been learned to believe about things in this world. A lot of things that she is associated to, people would look at as being negative, but it's not. I am not an evil person. I do not use evil magic, and you know, there is a light and dark aspect to every energy that you work in, whether you're in witchcraft, you're in shamanism, whatever. All energy has both aspects because it is connected to the world, and the world is both light, dark. It is both good and it's chaos energy and positive energy. That it's just no other way. Okay, so always remember that. So just honor and respect her, and know that she is a remarkable energy, and she is an energy that will help you to find yourself, to be comfortable in yourself, and to open to your true self, and to be comfortable in your practices and stuff like that. So I'm just going to do the last part. So in this bit, this is just calling up on her. Okay, so to call up on Hecate through ritual prayer, find a quiet space, set up an altar with candles and other bits like I said to you, and use the prayer that focuses on your intentions, such as a prayer for guidance, protection, or freedom, or any other sort of prayer that you need for. You can use specific prayers found online or write your own, as often that a personal offering is more accepted and appreciated by Hecate. When it comes from your heart and it comes from you, it's more meaningful because it forms and it shows that relationship between you and her. So but if you're not good at writing, and you're not good at writing, and you're not really good at putting things together, and you're not sure how to do that, then you are fine to go out and research and find maybe a poem or a prayer that's associated to her. You could maybe change a few words in it if you wish to as well. Like, it's really up to you. As you go through your practice and you become more open, you will become more aware of these things, and you'll be able to do it quite easily. Okay, so just go with the flow. Learn, research, and practice is key. Okay? So just focus your intentions. Like I said, it could be your guidance, protection, and freedom prayers. It could be anything. You can use specific prayers found online. Like I said, you can do it, write it down, do whatever you want. You can give her personal offerings like incense, wines, or breads. These are other good ways of honouring her alongside the prayers as well. She does like to be prayed to, and be honoured. She likes to be called out to. She likes to be instructed and dedicated to how she's supposed to be. Before you begin doing these sort of rituals and that, find a quiet space, choose your location where you won't be disturbed. This is really important, that you're in a location where you won't be disturbed, so that you can just be calm your mind, and so that you can connect and communicate with her deeply without being interrupted. Set your intentions. Clearly state the purpose of your ritual. Are you seeking guidance, protection, or new beginnings, or any other sort of form? Obviously, these are just little representations I gave to you, examples. Set your intention of what you're wanting to do. Then go round and cleanse your area and your altars and your spaces to make sure that no over left energy is there. Then you will set your altars up, and then you will go back to intention and thinking about what you're wanting again, and recall out again to her as well. And you can use things like the candles and any sort of scripts, anything that is associated to her, and put that on your altar. And place anything meaningful that's meaningful to you as something that you want to dedicate and give to her as a gift. It can be a piece of jewelry, it could be anything, something that symbolizes your respect and your honor to her. And always make sure that you wash your hands before you do anything with her and after you do anything with her. She is really funny about cleanness. She does not like dirtiness. She hates it. So, opening prayer to Hekate. Prayer to Hekate, goddess of the crossroads. So this is a prayer for crossroads, okay? So, oh hail Hekate, goddess of our crossroads, keeper of and guardian of the keys. Your power and wisdom are felt by those who seek in thee. With honour and respect I call to thee, to guide me through the darkness and all that is unknown. Queen of the night, mother of witches, your torches light the way, and your magic bewitches. May your power protect me from all that may harm. May your wisdom help me walk the twists and the turns of my life. So might it be, blessed be, whatever you want to say. Okay, so this is one that you can say to her. So, hail goddess, oh goddess, or oh powerful goddess, or you might go, oh powerful goddess Hecate of the crossroads, of mother of witches, like all of the different affirmatives that stand for her and stuff. Okay, you can call out to them. There's so much that you've got to educate and learn yourself. Okay, so it's really important that you do that. So this is a form where you can offer a offering and things. So this one is, oh Hecate, I offer you this offering. You'd say the name of the offering as a symbol of my gratitude for all that you have done and all that you will come to do. Bless me with your magic and your might, and guide me in your struggle, in my struggles I face day and night. May your divine light illuminate my path and way. May your presence bring peace and protection to my heart, body, and soul. Hail Hecate, goddess of the crossroads, queen of the night. Guide me with your ancient wisdom and bless me always with your might. Blessed be, so might it be. Amen. So this would be a prayer where you would say out when you're giving her offerings and you're giving her things, whether this is an offering of a thought or a feeling like I was speaking to you about earlier, or it's you giving her food, wine, or drink, or anything like that. This would be what you would call her out to. Okay, there are other affirmatives and other things you can use as well. There is loads and loads of different prayers, and like I said, if you're one of these people that are really creative, really good at writing, really good at putting words in together, just write your own scripts to your gods and goddesses, write your own scripts for your practices. You don't need to follow or be like anybody else. That is definitely not what you need to be. So this was Hecate's side. So it has been nearly 2 hours that I've been talking to her, but I really do feel that it was really important that you understood that, and you understand that these sort of things. So you know about the animals and stuff that she's associated with. You know the candle colors, to crystals, and other, the basic things that you need to know to be able to communicate with her is in this video. You know about all of the aspects and information about her and how she works and her domains and things like that. So now is that time for you to be able to come forward and you start doing your research, your studying and your education into her and other deities that you find interesting when I'm doing these shows. And these will be able to show you and tell you lots of different stuff online, in books. Go to spiritual shops, there are lots of books out about Hekate and other gods and goddesses. Pick these books up, read them, educate, study, watch other fellow practitioners that work with Hekate. Always be wary about taking all of the information from other people. That is definitely something you do need to be wary of, but it's okay to take splishes and splashes and bits that you feel that you connect to and that you've experienced with Hekate, or you feel that you're going to experience with Hekate. But just be very wary and don't always be so quick to take what everybody that works with us says or what every single book says. Obviously, like when you come across all these books where you've got like the names and you've got the descriptions and you've got details about different gods and goddesses, and these are books specifically made on them, then these books are pretty good ones to go by. But if you're going to go for just these basic books where there's loads of different information in it and there's maybe little bits about Hekate and other gods and goddesses in it, just be a little bit more wary of that. I'm not saying that it's not all true, but just be careful, because not all books tell you everything you need to know, just as not every person that works with her is going to tell you everything you need to know. Everybody's experience with Hecate is going to be different. All of our experiences are different. How we work with her is different. How we're going to cast our spells and be with her is going to be different. And, you need to remember that. So that is beautiful Hecate that is done. And I hope that this is going to help you to be a bit more open and understanding of her. It's going to make you to realize that she's not this bad and dark energy. She is just an energy that is very much misunderstood. She has so many forms within her way, and she is walked the light and the dark. So she is in charge of many, many things. Okay. But these things are what bring balance in this world. And as I said to you earlier, it's not about the fact that magic and your deities are evil or good. The intention of the person, the practitioner that's doing that magic, is what's going to make it the way it is. Okay, so just remember that. So that's Hecate, and I am going to bring Cernunnos into this as well. So I've been going for 2 hours with Hecate, and we're now going to do Cernunnos. Now I know that Cernunnos's one is not going to be as long-winded. Okay, there is not as much detail and information about Cernunnos. A lot of his information has been lost. Or rewritten because of stupid religious beliefs and ways. So a lot of his stuff was rewritten or lost or distinguished and never spoke of again. But luckily, there were many out there that did connect with him that were like our ancestors and stuff like that. So that's what kept him in the eye, just as Hecate and all of the others as well. There's all of our gods and goddesses have got a lot of history and stuff that's lost. And the stuff that you seem to find today, especially the sides when it comes to their dark aspects, a lot of it is so badly made out that they're demonic and they're evil and they're this and they're that. And a lot of this context and work is just written by people that are religious and really don't know much about the true aspects of the world and life and how it runs. So it's important to know that. And Hecate and Cernunnos are two energies that are very important to talk about. And before those very simple aspects, that they are known to be in the liminal lines and both of the light and the dark. So we're going to move on to Cernunnos now. So our beautiful god, we're going to bring him in. So we are talking now about Cernunnos. As I said, the information about Cernunnos is not as long. It is probably going to be just under an hour for this one because it's all bit out. Everything's done. I've done a lot of research into all of this stuff, guys. So I am bringing you the best and all that I can know. So now let's bring up Cernunnos. So the first part.
So let's start, guys. So, if you have ever come across an image of a horned figure seated among wild animals and holding serpents or a torch, you may have stumbled upon Cernunnos, the exclusive Celtic god, often referred to as the horned god, or the horned one, or the stag god. Mysterious and deeply symbolic, Cernunnos invites curiosity from those interested in mythology, spirituality, and the secret rhythms of nature. It is very much associated with nature and the wild and animals and all that sort of stuff. Who is Cernunnos in Celtic mythology? Cernunnos, pronounced Knoonos. Okay, is one of the ways, or it can be spelled K C-R-E no Cernunnos. There are so many different ways to write his name and to say his name, as I explained earlier. So Cernunnos is one of the most enigmatic figures among the Celtic gods, sometimes referred to as the Celtic forest god or the stag god. He is usually depicted with large antlers, often seated cross-legged, surrounded by animals such as deer, snakes, and sometimes bulls and wolves. Though not as widely recorded in written sources as Greek or Roman gods, images of Cernunnos appear across Celtic Europe, most notably on the Gudstrup cauldron, a richly decorated silver vessel from around the 1st century BC. This vessel consistency suggests that he played a powerful role across Celtic tribes. Cernunnos is most commonly known as the Celtic god of nature, wildness, animals, fertility, and even wealth. His very appearance, blending human features with animal traits, represents the union of man and nature. The myths and stories of Cernunnos. Cernunnos doesn't feature in long, detailed myths like other ancient gods, but several artifacts and regional stories offer glimpses into how he was seen. The following three stories reflect the symbolic moments and interceptions of Cernunnos' presence in Celtic lore, and obviously in the craft too. The Horned One and the Secret Serpent. On the Gudstrup cauldron, Cernunnos is depicted seated cross-legged, calmly holding a serpent in one hand and a torch in the other. This powerful image is often interpreted as a story of harmony between life and transformation. The serpent symbolizing renewal, rebirth, and the torch representing divine authority and spiritual connection. The forest keeper and the stag is the other story. In one folk retelling from Gaelic tradition, hunters entered a secret forest and encountered a great stag with golden antlers. When they tried to strike it down, the creature transformed into a horned man, Cernunnos himself, who warned them never to hunt for, for sport and banished them from the woods. This tale frames Cernunnos as a protector of wildlife and a guardian of balance between humans and nature. The next one is the disappearance of Samhain. Some Celtic stories speak of travellers who vanished near the ancient groves during Samhain, only to return changed or not at all. These tales say that Cernunnos would walk the boundary between the worlds that night, guiding souls or testing the hearts of the hearts of those who wandered too far into the wild. Though not malevolent, he demanded respect for the spiritual forces hidden in nature's darkness.
Cernunnos' powers. Cernunnos' powers lie in the deep connections to the natural world. As the Celtic nature god, he believed to govern life, death in the forest, ensure the health of wild animals, and to maintain balance within the ecosystem. His powers include fertility and abundance. As a horned god, Cernunnos is linked to the fertility both in nature and among humans. His image often conveys fertility and growth. Wild wildlife and forest. Cernunnos protects forest animals and is sometimes seen as a spiritual guardian of the woodland places. He is also known to look after your domestic pets and animals as well, especially dogs and cats and things like that. Wealth and prosperity. He is also associated with material wealth and the trade evidenced by the trade evidenced by coins found around his deceptions. Life and death. As a symbol of the cycle of nature, Cernunnos holds sway over both creation and decay, mirroring the seasons. Spiritual guidance. Some traditions view him as a psychopomp, a guide who helps souls travel between worlds. Cernunnos. Cernunnos' symbols associated with Cernunnos speaks volume about his identity and his role in the Celtic belief system. Antlers, his most uh, recognizable feature. The antlers mark him as the horned man, a bridge between the human and the animal realms. The serpent, this often represents transformation, rebirth, and healing. The torch is a symbol of power, status, and connection to the divine. Animals, especially the stag, bull, and the wolf, each representing wildness, strength, and instincts. The seated pose, Cernunnos is often shown in meditative positions, reflecting spiritual balance. Cernunnos' relationships and family tree. Cernunnos is often described as a primal deity rather than the offspring of a named parent, while other myths loosely associate him with the earth itself. He isn't part of a defined lineage like many other gods. Instead, he represents an elemental force of nature, ancient, wild, and ever present. He doesn't have traditional siblings, but spiritually is closely connected with the animals of the world, and is sometimes portrayed with a female forest counterpart or fertility goddess, seen as his divine counterpart. This symbolic pairing reflects the balance between masculine and feminine in nature. Unlike deities who rule or command, Cernunnos acts as a guardian of the wildness, guiding the cycles of life and death from within the forest itself. Cernunnos influence and legacy. For, though not worshipped in grand temples, Cernunnos has acquired a yet a Though not worshipped in grand temples, Cernunnos had a quiet yet powerful influence across Celtic lands. His image appeared in carvings and sacred art, portraying him as a calm and connected to animals. Unlike fierce or vengeful gods, he embodied peace, natural cycles, and the deep stillness of the woods. This image shaped how people saw nature as something sacred, nor separate from the divine. Later folklore figures like Herne and the hunter echo his traits, and in modern times, he's helped inspire the idea of the horned god in pagan traditions. So, Cernunnos in modern times. Cernunnos remains a symbol of nature in modern paganism, witchcraft, and any sort of spiritual practice, from Wiccan to Druidry. He's honored as a horned god of the wild, often paired with the goddess in seasonal rituals. His image appears in tattoos, art, and modern spiritual practices as a reminder to reconnect with the earth. He also features in popular cultures and alternative spirituality, offering a gentler view of masculine divinity, one rooted in harmony and instinct. Though no longer worshipped in ancient rites, Cernunnos continues to represent the secret power of the natural world and our place within it. Signs that Cernunnos may be reaching out include a sudden and persistent draw to research the deity, frequently encounters with his symbols like antlers or animals, and receiving direct guidance through dreams or meditation. Pay attention to recurring themes related to nature, animals, or prosperity, and be open to the feelings of a presence or receiving intuitive thoughts and messages that resonate as truth. Notice a persistent draw of resonance, unexplained interest. You'll feel an unexplainable compulsion to research Cernunnos, even if you have no prior knowledge or logical reasons to. Things click as you learn more about him in mythology and his themes. You find it resonates deeply within your own life or beliefs. Look for reoccurring symbols, animals imageries. You repeatedly see symbols of animals associated with Cernunnos, particularly stags, bulls, and serpents, or even a ram horned serpent. Antlers. You notice antlers appearing in unexpected places, such as in nature, branches against the sky, art, logos, or other items around you. Other symbols. Look for other symbols like torches, pine cones, or reputations of nature and prosperity. Anything that stands these sort of things out and you're seeing these in your visions and your way, it means that, that he's possibly reaching out to you, and these are ways of him to reach out to you. Pay attention to your inner world and dream. Vivid dreams. Cernunnos may appear directly to you in dreams, perhaps with a nod or a direct intersection, like connecting with you, talking to you. He might come in one of his animal forms first and then appear as the god himself. Um, he may just nod when if you see him and you ask him if it's him. Like it may take a while for him to communicate and talk with you, or he may just communicate and connect with you straight away. It really depends on him. Intuitive thoughts. You may have thoughts or insights that don't feel like your own, or a sudden feeling of knowing things to be true that you've been denying. This is another aspect that is really good and shows the connection of Cernunnos. Feeling a presence is another one. You may have a persistent feeling of a presence, or catching glimpses of something moving from the edge of your eye, or like side of your, like from the side. You might see somebody moving around, or you just may have that knowing and that feeling that somebody is there. This is normally a sort of feeling and emotion that Cernunnos will give off when he's about and around you too. Interpret recurring themes and feelings, nature and wildness. You feel a strong connection to the wild, forest, and the natural world, seeing them as reflections of the divine, which they are the reflections of the divine, and energy seek within that, and the divine use the natural world in many ways to connect and to work with us. So this is one of the biggest ways that you'll be able to find signs and ways that Cernunnos is reaching out. Just be in nature, feel the connection, feel the energy. What does it say to you? What does it make you feel like? Things like that. These are all going to be ways to learn to communicate with them as well. And another one is prosperity. Theme of prosperity, vitality, and abundance may appear in your life and thoughts. So good things and things that you may be seeking, things that you'll want in life. You may be feeling empowered. You may be feeling completely not yourself and feeling like you're finally moving in a direction you want to be. This can be another appearance that he is there. Another one is sudden clarity. You might experience a moment of sudden insight where the world seems to make sense, as if a veil has been lifted. For some of you, you may be opening and experience more insight from the world. You may be feeling like that there are things and elements in the world that are talking to you through symbols, visions, sights, and all these sort of things. These are all ways that he can communicate with you, and it is a way that many of our gods and goddesses will communicate with you. What you've got to remember is they are in an unphysical world. So using symbols, signs, and things in life sometimes are the ways that they can communicate, especially if you can't connect or see them. I can. So for me, luckily, I can tell when energy's around and I can normally see it. But for some of you, you can't do that. So all these signs and these feelings and picking up on things are really, really crucial to you. For connecting with Cernunnos, use candles in natural earthy colours and incense with woody or musky scents. The most appropriate choices relate to his aspects as Lord of the Forest, wild animals, abundance, and the underworld. So the colours of candles to use and to work with Cernunnos and their symbolisms and wealth and nature. So green represents nature, fertility, abundance, and the green man aspect of Cernunnos. Even though I don't see Cernunnos and the green man as the same energy, I see them as two separate gods. I worship both gods and I do not see them as one energy, but some in the craft do. And they're both associated with green candles. Another candle is brown, associated with the earth, stability, animals, and grounding. Then you've got gold or yellow, symbolizing abundance, wealth, sun, and the masculine energy. Then you've got black. Black can be used to represent the deep forest, the underworld, or for protection and dispelling negative energy. Red, in some traditions, red candles for the god are used to represent strength and fertility. And a white candle is also a universal substitute for any other color you may not have that you're needing for Cernunnos's work. You can use the white candle as a representation. You would just put the energy of that red candle in there. You would put the name of the red candle or the green candle, whatever color you're using. You just say, "This white candle I bring to be in white. This white candle that I bring now to be in green. I bring in the energy of you and what it is, and that will bring it through." So some of the incense that are used to invoke and to have deep connection with Cernunnos and the environment is frankincense, a widely used and highly recommended incense for Cernunnos. It's one of his favourites. Then you've got the pine scent, which connects to the forest and the natural environment. Cernunnos absolutely loves to be able to smell the natural world around him. So anything that's floral and naturey smelling, he absolutely loves. Cedar is another deep woodsy scent suitable for the forest god Cernunnos. Musk associated with masculine and animalistic energy of Cernunnos. This is really good if you're trying to work with your masculine side with him, and if you are trying to bring out your animalistic energy within you, that energy that helps you to be connected to nature more and things like that, just being something unique. Then you've got juniper, a secret herb to Cernunnos. Juniper is the secret herb to Cernunnos, often used in smudging bundles or as a scent. Then you've got sandalwood. This can be used as an offering for invoking and adoration. And then benzoin, another Vishnu scent that is considered appropriate. Ultimately, personal connection is key. The best colours and scents are those that feel right to you and help you to establish a strong and personal connection with Cernunnos. Even though I'm giving you these colours of candles and I'm giving you these scents, sometimes these will not be the colours he wants you to use. He will tell you what colour candles, what herbs and what oils and things he wants you to use for certain things sometimes. But while you're still new and you're learning and you're growing and you're trying to bring that relationship in with him, then having these to be able to follow to just start you off will be great. As you get greater, but as you do this longer, you will learn to use your own magic. You will learn what feels good to you and what doesn't. So just do not worry yourself in that way, okay? Offerings to Cernunnos often include natural items like food, drink, and handcrafted items. So you can make things and stuff like that. Items of offerings you can give him is wine, ale, and milk, fruits, nuts, honey, coins. You can also write him poems and songs. You can also offer things like a portion of your own meal. You can walk in forests, or you can give them a portion of your own self-care. So when you're doing a self-care and you're doing things to look after yourself and to make yourself feel great, and you do feel great after doing it, you can give that energy over to him as well. Cernunnos is all about you feeling good in yourself and being strong, and he loves to feel that energy as well. When giving offerings, a common practice is to pour laptions onto the ground, especially in a wooded area. So, like Hekate, putting her food down on the floor there, Cernunnos loves you to be able to put his favourite drinks like ale and beers and stuff. Just put it down onto the grass and give it into the ground and into the wildness. He's a god of wild. His energy is in everything, so he will absorb that and love that, and he will find that very respectful, and he will have a lot of gratitude for it. Common offerings are foods like fruit, apples, pears, honeys, nuts, and rustic bread. Drink is alcoholic beverages like dark beer, strong red wine, or mead are very common. You can also offer non-alcoholic drinks and ciders like milk or plain water. Natural items, coins. Coins are an item that is made of the natural world and natural materials, like wood or copper, and items gathered from the wild, if it's safe for wildlife. So, obviously, taking any forms of coins, copper, wood, um, anything that you've come across that's going to be safe to the natural world and to the animals, and things that you have been attracted to and you like and you feel to give them to him, then do that. You know what I mean? And also, like, make your own stuff. Handcrafted items are the next thing. Poems, songs, or other crafts you create can be dedicated to him. So making things for him, like poems, songs, dancing for him. You could be making jewelry. You could draw something for him. You could paint something for him. Anything you want to do. Just make sure that when you're doing it, that it's things that represent what he is, though. Okay, so that he can enjoy it and be more pleasantly open to it. And another great offering is yourself. Some traditions suggest the acts of self-care, like eating healthy or going to the doctors, can be offered to him and his name as a way to honoring the wildness within yourself. So the wildness within yourself, and opening yourself, wanting to take care of yourself, wanting to be healthy, wanting to be vibrant and open in life, so that you can enjoy the luxuries and the bounties of this world. He is all about that. So if you're self-caring yourself and you're looking after yourself and you're in a really good energy, give that over to him. It helped to boost him, and it helped to boost the domain of the natural world. How to give an offering in a wooded area. Pour libations like wine or concentrated water. So concentrated waters are things like that have been blessed. So it could be like your moon water, your sun water, it could be blessed water, holy waters, things like that. Anything that has been blessed in divine energy and stuff can be given to Cernunnos. Okay, so wine, put this all on the ground while calling his name. You also can leave him food items on the ground as long as they are safe for the wildlife. Now, I am going to really point that out to you guys about this one. He is all about nature and animals and stuff. Do not go taking anything to him that is going to poison and hurt an animal. Always look into the foods and stuff that you're taking out into wildlife and that, and make sure that all of the stuff that you're taking is safe if animals consume it. You do not want to be hurting an animal if you're working with this god. He does not like that. At home, place offerings on an altar or a hearth. Anybody that doesn't know what a hearth is, it's like a fireplace and it's got a floor bit to it. Okay, so it's like a hearth, a hearth, whatever you want to call it. It's normally like in a fireplace area or a little area that is on the floor, and it's just this little section where you can put candles and you can put things, and you can just make a mini little altar, and it's not a table, it's just something that's connected to the ground. So that's what a hearth is. Okay, but if you don't have one of them, you could just use an altar, a table. Okay, you can also share your meals with him by setting aside a portion for him before you eat. Always make sure that if you're going, when you're eating, and if you're going to be giving him an offering or anything, any of your gods and goddesses, always make sure that you put their food out first. Okay, out of respect. And I do the same with my dog. When I'm doing my food, I will give him the food as well. I always go to him and do him first. It's just out of respect, you know what I mean? And also do it with intention. When you are making an offering, it can be helpful to have some kind of ritual or prayer. Simply settling a schedule for when you will make an offering can also be very helpful. So set your intentions, set where you want to do it, write out your scripts and your prayers and your chants and your openings. If you're somebody that's going to play music and do other things to honor him as well, get your instruments out. Make sure you've got all the things around you so that you can be ready. Okay, and make sure that they're all cleansed and clean before you use them. So as I was saying as well, taking a portion of your own meal. So you can take a little bit of a portion of your own meal, or you can just set a little plate aside for him as well. You know what I mean? You can set aside a portion of your own food before you eat, or simply share with him. So you could have your own little plate and that, or if you're sitting there and you're eating your food and that, and you don't have a lot of it, so you can't put it, you can still call on them and go, Cernunnos, I call you to come and sit with me and to share my food that's on this plate. This is all that I have to offer. And he will respect that as well, because you've still thought of him. And remember, just like Hekate, make it very clear on how many times a week you can give him an offering. If you're going to do it every day, do it every day, his drinks and his offerings. Okay, if you're not, just clarify when you're going to do it. So 2 times a week, 1 time a week, just so that he knows. Okay, it's just out of respect, because with gods and goddesses, if they're helping you and they're there and they're guiding you and they're teaching you and things, they're going to expect you to do things. So don't be scared or worried if you can't do it every day. You don't have to do it every day like I do. Like, you can just do it once a week, twice a week. Maybe you can only do it 2 times a month. It don't really matter. Just make it very clear to them, because there's other ways that you can show your respect and dedication to them, just by waking up and doing a little prayer to them and thanking them for you being here, asking them if there's anything that they need help with, or anything that they want to use you to do. So like spell work, anything like that. Just ask them if there's anything you can help them with. All these are ways to show your respect. And obviously, as I said again, your own self-care. Okay, he will also eat meat. Cernunnos will eat a red meat as well. Definitely a red meat, yeah. So you can put red meat and stuff as well. Your own self-care, as I said to you a minute ago, is really important. He really, really feels strong about people looking after themselves, looking after their body, because their body is part of the natural world. We are part of the natural world. Okay, that's where we go back to when we pass away, and that's where our life and our spirit continues. So, self-care, looking after yourself, is one of his big things on his list. Cernunnos is the Celtic god of the wild, representing nature, fertility, and animals. He is known as the Lord of the Wild Things, and he is associated with prosperity, the hunt, and the underworld. Depicted as a man with stag antlers, he is often shown seated with animals, a torch, necklace, and a bag of coins or grain, which normally symbolizes his wealth. And not wealth as in, like, don't go to him about wealth as in, oh, I want you to make me loads of money and stuff. What he wants you to bring in wealth is he wants you to bring the wealth of the natural world, the growth of the natural world, the cycles of the natural world. That's what brings richness. Not richness is in money, but richness is in the gifts and things that we have. Okay, this is what he very much learns you about. So, Cernunnos represents nature and animals. He is the lord of wild things, a powerful deity of the wildness and all its creatures. He is often depicted with a variety of animals such as stags, dogs, rams, and other antlered animals. Wolves are another one that is associated with him. Boar is another one as well. There are quite. He's connected to nearly every animal in the kingdom, but there are just specific ones that are secret to him. Okay, fertility and prosperity. Cernunnos is associated with abundance of nature, including plants, grains, and fertility. He is sometimes shown holding a cornupa or a bag of coins. The hunt. He represents the wild and the untamed aspects of the hunt, but is often portrayed as a protector rather than the violent figure. The underworld. His connections to the cycle of life and death also links him to the underworld, like Hekate. Life, death, and rebirth. In some modern interpretations, he is seen as the embodying. Uh, in some modern practices, he is seen as embodying the cycles of life, death, and rebirth. Okay. Common depictions, appearances: a man with stag antlers on his head. Association: he wears a torch around his neck and is often shown holding a ram horned serpent or a bag of coins or grain. His pose frequently depicted sitting cross-legged in a meditative state. Okay. The association to animals are stags, dogs, bulls, rats, boar, and all other sorts of animals as well. But some of them are just secret. Okay, Cernunnos is associated with the entire cycle of seasons, representing life, death, and rebirth of nature. His yearly cycles is often depicted as dying in the autumn and winter and being reborn in the spring and the summer. He is a god of fertility, nature, and the wild, embodying the vibrant and potent male aspect of nature that waxes and wanes with the year. Seasonal and symbolic representations. Spring and summer, he appears as the young sun in spring and the green man in summer, representing the growth and life of the natural world. This is his light half of the year, a time of vibrant life, love, and fertility. Again, some people do not represent Cernunnos and the Green Man as being the same thing. So even though they're saying you see him in the sun aspect, then you see him in the great Green Man aspect, that's for some of us, we don't see those two deities as the same thing. We see them as a separate thing. So we would see him as the sun in the spring, and by the summer we would see him as a fully grown god of nature, okay, and becoming the king, I guess, of nature and stuff like that. Then in autumn and winter, he becomes the dark god and the horned god, ruling during the dark half of the years as a wild hunt leads the forces of nature into a state of dormancy. This represents the death and dying time in nature, which is a necessary part of the cycle, and is when it's said that is most prominent in trying to help that energy to cross over. Cycle of life and death. His eternal cycle mirrors that of the seasons, symbolizing the consciousness process of life, death, and rebirth that is fundamental to the natural world. He is a god of the hunt and the forest, but also represents instant, instinctual, and viable aspects of nature. Cernunnos is mostly closely connected to the Samhain, like Hekate, because he is the god of the dark half of the year, the wild hunt, and leads souls to the underworld. He is also linked to the cycles of nature, life, and death, and rebirth, with some traditions seeing him as being born at the winter solstice and dying at the summer solstice, and ruling the land in its dark and dormant phases, which align with the period of the sowing. So he's another god like Hecate that is sowing linked because of the dark aspect of them. Connections to the sowing. In some neo-pagan traditions, Cernunnos is considered the Dark Lord and is associated with the wild hunt that occurs at Samhain, the, the festival marking the end of the harvest and the beginning of the winter. This links him to the time of year when the veil between worlds is finished. So yeah, he's very much connected to Samhain. He's connected to all of that sort of energy and way. So he's is interesting. Symbolism of the cycles. The horned god, of which Cernunnos is an archetype, symbolizes the annual cycle of life, death, and rebirth. In the cycles, he is seen as being in his dying phases of death aspects during the period leading up to and through winter. Other connections. While sowing is prominent to Cernunnos and is a deep connection due to his role as the ruler of the dark half of the year. His annual cycles also connect him to the Sabbats, such as the winter solstice, which is Yule, which represents birth, and you've got the summer solstice, which represents the death, and the Beltane, which represents the marriage between him and Mother Goddess. Crystals associated with Cernunnos including amethyst, azurite, emerald, jasper, onyx, and rock crystal, moss agate, and preonite. So, amethyst is associated with spiritual protection and intrusion. Azurite is connected to the mind, intrusion, and the divine. Emerald is linked to fertility, prosperity, and the heart. Jasper is considered a stone of grounding, endurance, and nourishment. Onyx is known for its protective qualities and connections to strength. Rock crystal, a powerful amplifier of energy and great general purpose stone. Other associated stones are moonstone, often featured in jewelry with Cernunnos imagery due to his connections with the moon and the feminine. Moss agate, a stone of nature, growth, and connection to the earth, making it a strong match for Cernunnos, the god of wild. And preonite, also associated with nature, the heart, and grounding energy. Cernunnos, the Celtic horned one, and the lord of the wild things, is associated with a variety of animals in ancient depictions and modern intersections, primarily the stag, the ram-horned serpent, and other wild beasts like dogs, bulls, and occasionally boars and rats. Animal association stags. The most prominent animal The stag, especially in Ra, is a powerful symbol of male fertility, strength, and fertility. The shedding and regrowing of its antlers also represent the cycles of death, regeneration, and the annual cycle of nature. Cernunnos himself is frequently depicted with a stag antler. Ram horn serpent. This unique secret creature is strongly linked to Cernunnos, particularly on the famous Gunderstrip cauldron. It symbolizes the underworld, the chthonic power and regeneration, long life, and the ability to shed its skin for renewal. So, removing the old and allowing the new. Bull. The bull is associated with abundance, wealth, and prosperity. In a relief from Reims, France, Cernunnos is seated with a bull and a stag at his feet, emphasizing his role as a giver of wealth, potentially in the form of cattle or natural things. Dogs and hounds. Dogs are associated with the hunt. Cernunnos is a master of the hunt and are also linked to the underworld or land of the dead. In some Indo European mythologies, potentially acting as a physio, uh, psychopomp or a guide of souls. The boar. The boar is another wild animal found in some depictions, emphasizing his association with the untamed wildness and the natural world. While there is no explicit ancient evidence directly connecting Cernunnos to a specific tree, modern Celtic and neo-pagan traditions and some witches strongly associate him with the oak and the holly trees. These associations stem from his role as the archetype horned god who represents the cycles of life, death, and rebirth in nature. The ancient trees and their symbolism. The oak tree symbolizes fertility, growth, abundance, strength, and protection. In Celtic lore, the oak was the most sacred tree, often associated with the primary god of the phantom and considered a doorway to the other worlds. Connects to Cernunnos, or the Oak King aspects of the horned god. It's seen as the ruler of the waxing year, spring and summer, bringing the lushness and the growth of the forest. In some modern spiritual depictions, he is shown sitting beneath an ancient oak, connecting to three the worlds of earth, sea, and sky, which is what Hekate is connected to. Then you've got the holly tree symbolism. The holly tree symbolizes death, and the leaves perished through winter. Cold resilience and protection. Its ability to remain green in winter and protect from lightning strikes made it a powerful symbol. This connections to Cernunnos, the Holy King aspect represents the waning year, autumn and winter, where the god grows old and descends into the underworld to comfort the souls of the dead before his eventual rebirth at the winter solstice. Other associations, flora. Beyond the major association with the oak tree and the holly, Cernunnos is the general guardian of the green world and other plants and these are often used to honor him in modern practices. Ivy. Cernunnos is sometimes depicted wearing a crown of antlers, twining with ivy, emphasizing his connection to the wild, untamed forest and the eternal cycles of life. Seasonal foliage, offering of moss, leaves, and other fresh greens, growth, and often used on antlers dedicated to Cernunnos to honor his role as the god of nature and the wildness. The lack of ancient textual evidence means that many Pacific trees associations in modern traditions are a result of synchronism and contemporary spiritual movement seeking to connect with the archetype nature deity. Rituals honoring Cernunnos focus on nature with offerings of wine, grain, and fruit, poured or placed on the ground in natural settings or a dedicated shrine. Rituals often include meditation, prayer, or making music to connect with the god, and many involving calling his name and acknowledging his presence in space. Pacific spells are well known documented historically, are not documented historically, but modern interpretations may focus on abundance, prosperity, and connecting with the cycles of nature. Rituals and offerings: pray and meditate, spend time in nature, like a local park or your backyard, and listen to Cernunnos' guidance, even going into nature itself, forests, woodlands, and things like that as well. Make offerings like wine, milk, concentrated water, grains, fruits can be poured on the ground or left on a shrine. Perform rituals at a shrine. Build a shrine to create a dedicated meeting place. Begin by announcing your presence, perhaps with bells or clapping, and invite Cernunnos to join. Celebrate seasonal cycles. Engage in seasonal rituals, especially around Imbolc for the Wild Hunt, harvest festivals, and Samhain, honoring the death and rebirth. Acknowledge and thank him. Express gratitude for his presence and blessings. Use ritual blades to snuff out candles while thanking him for his attendance before closing the circle. Follow the exchange. Some traditions ask for something in return and give something equally in exchange. Cernunnos is often seen as wanting appreciation and a good time. So obviously, like any god and goddess, when you're asking him to do specific things and you're calling out on him and things like that, you would offer him offerings and things like that. Whether these are offerings of things from your mind or these are offerings of food, drinks, and things that maybe you've made, always make sure that you give back. Never just take and not give back. That is not how it works. Another thing to do is to listen for his guidance. After making an offering, spend time in meditation to listen for his response and guidance. If you're trying to connect with him and talk to him and you're trying to get guidance, after you've done the ritual and you've closed it and you've cleansed and you've put all of the things away that need to be and you've thrown away the offerings that are no good and you've gave the offerings that are good to nature that won't hurt our animals, sit in a quiet and secret place and just meditate. Ask your questions out in your mind or out loud and see how you feel or what message you get within your mind or what signs or symbols may be around you that give you that sort of opening that he is connecting with you. It's all about intuition and listening and feeling, okay? Modern spells, abundance and prosperity. Some modern practices include prayers or spells for wealth, health, and protection, drawing on Cernunnos as a god of abundance. Blessing wine. A ritual might involve asking Cernunnos to bless and empower a glass of wine with his energy before drinking it, symbolically taking in his blessing. Connecting with the wild. Create rituals that celebrate freedom, sexuality, cleansing, and the wildness of nature, as these are themes associated with Cernunnos. In modern neo-pagan practices, Wiccan practices, and some witch practices, protection spells done in the name of Cernunnos often involve invoking his power as the protector of the wild and the natural world. The specifics of such spells are personal and are ve- and vary by practitioner, as there are many serving ancient standardized. Cernunnos myths or rituals detailing this. And there's a lot of information and stuff that's been lost about Cernunnos or rewritten, so there's a lot of stuff that you can't really know about him anymore. General practices and elements often integrate into Cernunnos' focus protection spells include casting the horned god, invoking Cernunnos to fill a secret space or circle with his magic power and presence, asking him to guide the circle and to protect space. Nature-based protection using natural elements and symbols associated with the god, antlers, leaves, moss, soil, representations of stags, snakes, or wolves to create a protective barrier. The belief that is that he protects those who honor nature, and it's true, he does. He will not just work with anybody. You've got to be somebody that really is into some of the forms that he's into, and he does, as he won't entertain you. Chanting and incarnations. Pacific incarnations may be useful to call upon his aspects as the master of the wild hunt, to pursue evil influences, or as the lord of woods to watch over the practitioner. Ground and an earth energy. Focusing on connecting with the earth energy, as Cernunnos is deeply linked to the land. This practice of grounding helps in forming a strong, stable, protective sphere and a strong relationship with him as well. Offerings items like seeds, nuts, bread, wine, milk to the ground in a natural setting or on an altar, especially in wooden areas, as a sign of respect, which can strengthen one's relationship with the deity Cernunnos, and by extension their request for protection. So he will bring these things to you if you show respect and dignity to. Invoking a specific deity like Cernunnos is a personal spiritual practice within pagan and Wiccan and some witches traditions, and prayers are often adapted or written by individuals. A prayer for protection might involve calling upon Cernunnos in his aspects of the Lord of the Wild, or the Guardian of the Forest, and Lord of Boundaries are some of the names that you would call out to. Below is an example of a prayer for protection completed from common themes found in invocations of Cernunnos. This is something that I have done and I work with, and I use this on a regular basis to work with Cernunnos. So this is a prayer for protection to Cernunnos. So it says, O Cernunnos, horned lord of the wild, ancient one, you who sit in the doorway between worlds, the gatekeeper of gods, I call to you from the center of my need. Guardian of all things wild and free, hunter and protector, extend your gaze over this secret space and place your mantle of protection upon me. By my strength and my counselor, the judgment to choose the right path and the courage to walk it boldly. Lord of the depths and the heights, I ask that you surround me with your strong, grounding presence, shielding me from all harm. Keep me safe from those who would do me ill and from the snares of negative energy. Grant me the peace found within the heart of the forest, the calm in the center of the storm. In your name, the hidden God, I walk in the light and the shadow, confide in your confident in your watch. So might it be, blessed be, as I will it, so might it be. Whatever you feel to say at the end, always giving offerings and stuff as well, guys. Invoking Cernunnos for working. Now, this is a an invocation that you can use for any ways of calling out to Cernunnos. Okay, it doesn't have to be for one specific thing. He has got many domains and different areas that he works in. So you're going to find that you're going to be working with Cernunnos in many different ways. So you can use this invocation using maybe his name in a different way in some of the ways that I've said to you. So the Lord of Wild, God of, you get my gist. Invoking Cernunnos for workings. Hail to Cernunnos, Lord of the Wild, the Forest, and the Hunt. Great Horned One, I call to you by the rustling of leaves and the strength of the ancient oaks. Come to me with your power of life and death, freedom and rebirth. Be present in this secret space. Bless this ritual and grant me your wisdom. So might it be, blessed be. So this is just a little short invocation that you can call upon him. And then you've got another one for calling onto him. So hail to Cernunnos, the horned god of the forest and the wild places, guardian of nature, life and rebirth. You teach the secret balance of life's cycles. Mighty lord of the woods and animals, hunter and hunted, I call to you. I ask that you be present with me in this secret space. Indwell my rights and give me your blessing. Great horned one, come into your circle. So might it be, blessed be, so on again. These two invocations can be used to call upon Cernunnos for any ritual or spell you need help with that's linked to his domains. Remember, Cernunnos will only work and help those who love and respect and protect the natural world and all that's connected to it. I hope that you have enjoyed this part of his opening, and I'm just going to quickly let me see how much I've got of this one. This is going to be long as well, I think. No, it shouldn't be too long, this one. So we're going to go into the next part. So information you need to know about Cernunnos. Cernunnos was the Gaelic god of beasts and wild places, often called the Horned One. Cernunnos was a mediator of man and nature, able to tame. He would protect predator and prey so they might lie down together. He remains a mysterious deity as his origins myths have been lost to history. Though Cernunnos himself appeared primarily in ancient Gaul, similar characters have been found around the world, including in other Celtic regions. Etymology. Cernunnos was an ancient Gaelic word meaning horned or horned one. The name shares its etymology with similar words across Celtic worlds, including several Gallo-Roman cognates. The use of cern for horned was common in Indo-European languages, such as the Greek corn. The word unicorn referred to the one-horned, horse-like creature, and several Latin taxonomic terms for antlered animals. In contemporary scholarships, Cernunnos has become a name used for other Celtic horned gods whose names have been lost to history. There is little evidence to suggest that the name Cernunnos was used outside the Gael. Nevertheless, academic and religious scholars alike have used the name as a kind of catch-all for a Celtic horned god, as well as the horned deities as far afield as India. Other titles have been added to Cernunnos over time, often by modern neo-pagans such as Lord of the Wilds or God of Wild Places. Such titles have no historical basis but have come into popular usage with the rise of neo-pagan and witch traditions. Attributes. Little is known of Cernunnos, for almost nothing was written about him. He was a god of wild places and often appeared as a bearded man with antlers. Some scholars believe his name and characteristics originally belonged to a number of horned gods that were then mixed together. Others have suggested Cernunnos' traits were taken from Greco-Roman deities of similar appearances. In any case, it is best to remember that these gods were not necessarily the same entity, but instead emerged from similar cultural origins. Cernunnos was a god of the wild who ruled over pristine nature and uncivilized ways. Animals were his subject, and free growing fruits and vegetables his bounty. Classical depictions of the deity include gatherings of animals such as elk, wolves, snakes, and orchids, such as such gatherings were possible thanks to Cernunnos' abilities to bring natural enemies into peaceful communion with one another. This ability may have cast Cernunnos as a protector and provider amongst rural tribes and hunters. Similarly, Cernunnos may have been a fertility god or god of life. In some classical societies, the natural world was uh, the origin of all life. Under this stamina, the god of the wilds would also have served as the god of life, creation, and fertility. Depictions. Cernunnos was often shown with a torch, a traditional Celtic necklace that was made of metal. In some depictions, he merely holds one while in the other he wears them either on his neck or antlers. Some scholars have connected Cernunnos to the oak trees, which served as prominent symbols in Celtic lore and Druidry. Cernunnos began a particularly active second life in the 19th century, when spiritual movements seeking to receive pre-Christian Europe beliefs grew into popularity. The deity appeared prominently in Margaret Murrow's "The God of the Witches" as an embodiment of the horned deities. The text states that Cernunnos was the god of witches during pre-Christian time, and that his worship continued in secret pockets throughout Europe following the spread of Christianity. Despite the book's problematic nature and many generalizations, particularly in regard of Cernunnos, it did bring the horned god back into the public eye, which for a long time Cernunnos had gone extinct pretty much. Nobody would talk about him. Anything to do with him would be done privately because the Christian world um, decided to give him the word that he was something of evilness and badness and things like that, because they didn't understand what a horn god was. Only Satan, and he's not Satan. Cernunnos, the horn god of neo-pagan traditions and other traditions of the craft, is the lord of both life and death. He grows old as the year progresses before being reborn and starting the cycle anew. He exists in tandem with the divine feminine, the goddess, who is at once both mother and lover. In many traditions, his power stems from her. Note that Cernunnos' neo-pagan attributes do not necessarily reflect his pre-Christian characteristics. Okay, they're completely different. And it's not just neo-pagan either, okay? But that is where his concept mainly would come from. A lot of neo-pagans do work with Cernunnos, but normal and solitary witches work with them. So do Wiccans, and like everybody's depictions of him are pretty much the same, but there are maybe little bits that are maybe slightly different. Okay. Mythology. Cernunnos was a particularly mysterious deity. His name appeared only once in historical sources, and of his tales, and none of his tales have survived from antiquity. Modern scholars and neo-pagans and other practitioners have nevertheless attributed a number of tales to the horned god in his honor. Historical Cernunnos. The name Cernunnos has appeared only once on the Pillar of the Boatman, carved in Paris, sometime during the first or the second century CE. Okay, BCE. The pillar depicted a number of Roman and Gaelic gods, Cernunnos among them. In this depiction, Cernunnos had his torches hanging around his antlers rather than his neck and or hands. While it is unknown which tribe might have worshipped Cernunnos, it is clear that the horned god was commonly worshipped throughout the Celtic world. The most famous image of Cernunnos, which may not depict him at all, was found on the Danish Gruderstrip cauldron dating back to the 1st century or the 2nd century BC. The cauldron was believed to have originated near Greece, likely in Gaul or Thrace. Due to the art style and metagelic practices required to create it, the horned god depicted on the cauldron bore similarities to those seen on Celtic stone statues and books during the early Christian period. Cernunnos and Cernunnos. Cernunnos may have etymologically linked to Cernunnos or Cernunnos, a character from the Ostrala cycle. Cernunnos' name may have simply meant triumphant, but could also mean angular or concerned. Given its similar etymology to Cernunnos, there were few similarities between the characters, however, and their names may be related simply by chance. Herne and Hunter. Sometimes scholars have connected Cernunnos to the legend of Herne, the Hunter, a character that first appeared in Shakespeare's The Merry Wives of Windsor. After committing a great offence, Herne killed himself to avoid dishonouring himself. He then proceeded to haunt the forests, terrorizing animals that crossed his path. Since the 19th century, scholars have attempted to find verifiable evidence of this story. Predated Shakespeare. While no infallible evidence has been found, some claim it nevertheless existed in the form of a Celtic or Anglo-Saxon legend that originated in Windsor. Other horned gods. Horned gods were more popular image in world mythology, as many shamanic cultures used sympathetic magic to appear as the animal whose attributes they wished to take. When shamans wished to take on the attributes of a deer and an elk, they would wear the animal's fur and antlers. Cernunnos closets closest along Angelos in the world of mythology, where Pan and Sylvanus from the Greco-Roman world. Pan and Sylvanus were horned gods, most commonly depicted to goat-like featured, who ruled the wild place of the world. The Greeks and Romans would have closely associated the two. Cernunnos was also closely connected to the Germanic Wotan, a vibrant a variant of the Norse god Odin. Wotan was the leader of the wild hunt and the horned god who led spirits on hunts for powerful warriors, and the spirits of the dead. Wotan was also closely related to animals and in some cases even served as their lord. It is unclear if these similarities to Cernunnos are intentional, or simply mere coincidence. Some scholars believe that, along with Pan, Cernunnos may have inspired the enemies of the Knight Templars to create Baphomet and false deity and demon. They were accused of worshipping Baphomet, displayed physical similarities to both deities, and his name was corruption of Latinas from Muhammad to Bahanum, has since become a prominent figure in modern witchcraft and satanic religion. Yeah, they're like different energies. I don't work with them. An artifact from the ancient Indian city of Mohenjo-daro depicted a character with striking similarities to Cernunnos, a horned bearded figure surrounded by animals, the image which appeared on the Pashaputai seal. Many have depicted the god Shiva or Rudra. Alternatively, it may have simply been a archetype Middle Eastern god of the wild, the bore similarities to Cernunnos. Pop culture. Despite or perhaps because of his mysterious nature, Cernunnos has made a number of appearances in popular culture. In Marvel Comics, Cernunnos was one of the most prominent figures of the Celtic Phantom. Here, he was depicted as a man who had both the face and antlers of a deer rather than just the antlers. The band Faith and the Moose recorded a song from the deity perspective called Cernunnos. Elsewhere, singer Monica Richards included a song about Cernunnos on her first solo album entitled The Antler King. The band Boring Dusk used a drawing of Cernunnos on a cover of their self-titled album Boring Dusk. Cernunnos has appeared in several video games as a playable god in Smite, a demon in the Megamitensi series, and a monster in Folklore. Cernunnos is a popular figure in modern art, though his appearances are often tied to neo-pagan interceptions of the deities instead of his Celtic origins. Cernunnos also appears frequently in neo-pagan literature, and he does appear in other magical literature as well. Our views about Cernunnos and the god, lord, and nature of animals. Cernunnos is a Celtic deity known as the Horned One. He is a god of the wild animals, fertility, and the underworld. While a fully developed myth for him is While the fully developed myths of him are lost, his story is reconstructed through iconography and associated imagery, which often depict him as an antlered man sitting cross-legged, sometimes holding a torch or a bag of coins. His story involves a cycle of life, death, and rebirth, being born at the winter solstice and marrying a goddess at Beltane, and dying at the summer solstice. Key aspects of the story of Cernunnos. The cycle of life and death. Cernunnos is a representation of nature's cycles, regenerative power. He embodies the fertility of the land and the animals, and his story reflects the changing seasons. The antler god. His most prominent feature is the antlers of the stag, which link him to the world and the wild and the forest. He is often shown with other animals such as the stag and the ram and the serpent, symbolizing his domain over the natural world, the underworld and wealth. Cernunnos is also associated with the underworld and wealth, sometimes depicted holding a bag of coins or a turquoise, a secret neck ring. This connects him to the earth's hidden riches and his roles as a god of prosperity. The, gun, the Gundestrup cauldron, a significant piece of evidence in the Gundestrup cauldron, a silver vessel from the 1st century BC that shows a figure consistent with Cernunnos. This figure is seated cross-legged, holding a torch and a serpent surrounded by animals. The origins and legacy. His worship dates back to prehistoric times, with images found in ancient caves. The cult spread through Gaul and Britain, and while the Christian church opposed him, his influence can be seen in modern neo-pagan religions and other spiritual religions and witchcraft. He is also linked to other horned deities like the Greek Pan and the Herne the Hunter. Working with Cernunnos in your practice, the colours associated with the Celtic god Cernunnos generally include green, brown, black, woad blue, navy, red, and gold. Ritual tools are often natural items or objects that represent his domains, such as antlers, animal figures, animal pales, pine cones, and a stag. Candle colours. These candle colours used for Cernunnos vary based on personal preferences and the specific aspects of the god being horned. Common associations include green to represent his aspect of the green man, even though I don't see them two together, but they both do use the green candle. Also, the god of nature and the forest and fertility. Brown is associated with the earth, autumn, and the natural world. Black candles are linked to his role as the lord of the underworld, wealth, and the dark half of the year. Gold and yellow symbolize the sun, wealth, and the general divinity. Red sometimes used to represent fertility, strength, and life essence of the god. White can be used as a universal candle. If any colors are not available, you can use the white candle to represent them. Associated tools and symbols. The antlers are the most prominent symbol, representing his identity as the horned one. Animal figures and pelts. Statues or images of horned animals, particularly stags or animal pelts, honor his title as Lord of all wild things. Torch is the secret Celtic neck ornament made of twisted metal, often depicted with him and symbolizing prosperity and status. Pine cones, leaves, moss, and soil. Natural items from the forest floor are excellent representations of his domain. A stag, a two-pronged wood staff, sometimes topped with antlers, used in some traditions to represent the horned god on the antler or to direct energy. Drinking horns, used for offerings of wine or milk, which are poured onto the ground in his honor. Cauldron can be used in rituals, as Cernunnos is sometimes associated with the cauldron of the underworld, from which the 5 rivers flow in certain myths. Ultimately, personal connection and intention are considered most important when choosing items for worship and when connecting with Cernunnos as well. It's really important to understand that there is nothing more important and special than having your self connection with him and having a meaningful connection with him. So make your ritual and make your ways with your deities your own. You do not have to be like anybody else. You don't have to write like anybody else. You don't have to take other people's words and stuff that they say in videos or from books or anything like that. You can make your magic your own, guys, and that's what makes it the most special and most important. Rituals for workers with Cernunnos are not historically documented, so modern practitioners use a variety of approaches rooted in general neo-pagan, Wiccan, and some witches practices, often focusing on nature, connections, offerings, prayers, and meditation. General practices, location. The most effective places to connect with Cernunnos is outdoors in the wild, natural environment like a forest or a park. Atmosphere. Cernunnos is a wild god ritual. Rituals can be fervent, involving dancing, singing, clapping hands, or drumming, rather than quiet reverence. Referencing. The general rules is to offer something good if you ask for something in return. Respectful, respectful closing. It is considered important to formally thank and dismiss Cernunnos and any accompanying spirits to him, such as the Fae. Fae are very heavily associated with Cernunnos and are one of the energies that I am very, very connected to. I see, talk, and communicate with them, and I do have links to them. So, yeah, if you're going to be working with Cernunnos, you've got to be prepared to be working with other deities and energies of the natural world. You're not just going to get Cernunnos all the time. So, such as the Fae, at the end of the ritual, to maintain energetic balance. So always show your respect, always show your thanks, always make sure that at the end of your rituals as well, when you're closing your circles and that, you say goodbye and you release them, and just make it clear that no further communication is needed until it is needed. Ritual practices and offerings. Setting up an altar or shrine. On the shrine or on the altar, have antlers, bones or skulls, leaves, moss, pine cones, branches, and fresh soil. A statue or an imagery of Cernunnos, or imageries of his domains, things from forests, things like that. One of the really good prominent animals to put onto the altars and stuff would be the stag and the stang, which is a two-faced pronged staff resembling antlers. Okay, so anything like stag wise, animal wise that have got antlers, the stang, which is a tool that people make that is associated with Cernunnos as well. It's more like a staff, and then it's got like antlers type markings at the top. This is a way to be able to communicate and to connect with him. So, and it is considered an appropriate ritual tool for connecting with him. Offerings are are a core part of working with Cernunnos. The key is to offer something you value yourself. E.g., if you're drinking expensive wine, offer him some too. Appropriate offerings include liquids like wines, milks, or concentrated water, which is blessed water, or water that is fresh and clean and is not just from the tap. Okay, often poured in onto the ground in a natural setting. But if you don't go outside and you don't do it outside, you can do it onto your altars and stuff. Food is grains, fruits, bread, red meat, cakes, anything like that will be absolutely fine. Honey, all of that sort of thing. I have got a lot of that work here already. Incense are things like cedar, musk, pine, sandalwood, and other incense I have mentioned up the board. Actions based cleaning up and walking trials as an act of service to the wild is an action based offering to Cernunnos, and it is said that he appreciates that. So going to wild places and cleaning them up, looking after wild places, going for walks, sitting and connecting with nature and with the wildlife, these are all aspects and ways that you will win Cernunnos' heart. Prayers and meditation. Regular prayer and meditation are key for ongoing communication with him. This can be done at home, in shrines, or outdoors. It really is up to you. The goal is to listen for his response, which may come as intuition, a feeling, or a simple sense of keeping moving. He very much makes you feel like you need to keep moving and keep doing things. Definitely. Spell work. Pacific spells are less prescribed than general devotional acts, but practitioners may invoke Cernunnos for spells and stuff to do with nature, healing natural world. If you've got ill pets, things like that, calling on him for the healing because he's good for healing as well. Other things you can call on him for is fertility and abundance. Given his association with fertility, he is often called upon for blessings related to conception or agricultural abundance. Okay, so he's really good with nature, so he'll be really good with agricultural stuff as well. Connection to the wild. Rituals can be performed to deepen your personal connection to nature and to spirit of the forest. That does include him as well. So yeah, doing a lot of rituals and meditations and connecting is really important. Got guidance. As a psychopomp, guide of souls, he may be called upon for guidance through transitions or liminal spaces in life. So if you've got people that are passing away in your life and you're wanting them to be guided correctly, you can call upon Cernunnos. Um, if people have already passed away and they're in another world, maybe you're wanting to communicate with them, maybe you're wanting to know that they're okay. Cernunnos will be another way, like Hekate, that you would be able to communicate with them in that way, even if it is through just talking to him. He's really good at bringing those paths out to you. Ultimately, working with Cernunnos is a personal path, and most practices encourage an exter- experimental and intuitive approach over rigid rules. Yeah, so just take your time. Don't rush to work with him. Don't rush to understand and learn everything. It takes time to understand your gods and goddesses, and it's really, really important to understand that you need to have deep understanding for the energies that you're working with. So you need to look into everything to do with them, from their beliefs, their rules, their beliefs in the places that they're associated to. So Greece for Hecate, or the Titan era for Cernunnos. He's connected to like nature. Look into aspects and things that would be able to educate you, learning about his rules, his beliefs, um, his governing, um, his life purposes. All of these sort of things are really, really important, and this should be something you do with any of your gods and goddesses. Okay. Crystals associated with Cernunnos include amethyst rock crystal and ruled quartz, which is commonly used. Herbs associated to him are sage, pine, and cedar, and other ones that I've already said about. Other crystals like jasper and onyx, rose, and other herbs like rosemary, patchouli, and sandalwood are also used in his honor. Okay, so yeah, you've got crystals again, like I said, amethyst, rock crystal, rudelated quartz, jasper, onyx, azurite, emerald, and peridot. Herbs are sage, pine, cedar, rosemary, patchouli, cinnamon, sandalwood, music, benzoin, frankincense, birch bark or leaf, changa, chamomile, spearmint, and peppermint are some of the herbs. Lemon balm and rose petals. So, a ritual prayer to Cernunnos often includes calling him as as the horned god, lord of the wild, and acknowledging his assistance with nature, animals, and fertility, and the cycles of life and death. An example is Cernunnos, I call to you, you who are the lord of the forest, the mighty stag, and the keeper of the secret mysteries. I offer you these gifts in gratitude for your abundance, wisdom, and protection. Hail to the horned God. Blessed be, so might it be. As I will it, so might it be. Whatever you wish to say, amen, whatever, whatever you want to say. Sample prayer and ritual action. Invocation, address Cernunnos using epithets like Horned One, Lord of the Wild, Mighty Stag, or Father of the Night. Okay, and other ones that I've set up the page as well. Invocations examples: Cernunnos, I call to you. You are the Lord of the forest, the mighty stag, and the keeper of the secret mysteries. I offer you these gifts in gratitude for your abundance, wisdom, and your protection. Offerings, making offerings such as whiskey, coins, bread, or food for wild creatures to show gratitude. Make sure that none of this stuff is poisonous or bad for the animals, though. Pledge, state a devotion pledge to him. Give him a devotion, give him a pledge in something that you're wanting to work with him to do, and keep that pledge, keep that promise, and do that. Ask him to help you and to accompany you in that. He wants you to be able to trust in him, and he wants to be able to trust in you. And by doing these things, you can build that relationship with Cernunnos. Okay, it's not that simple to just start working with him. And the same with Hekate. They are both a deity and energy that you've really got to build the relationship with. Now, like you do with any of your deities, but just some of them are a little bit harder to get close to. It takes longer, believe me. Another thing is body language. Use gestures of movement like raising your hand or taking a step back to reaffirm your vow. So showing him that you give word by lifting your hand, saying, I give you truth and I promise that I will do this vow and I will give this to you. Showing gestures in other ways as well. Putting your hand over your heart and saying, I will give this to you. I am loyal to thee. Things like that. Even just saying little words that you're loyal to him or to any of your deities, and that you respect and you honor them, things like that. Always show your gratitude. That's what is really important. So an example of a ritual prayer: address him, O horned one, father of wild, lord of the forest, Cernunnos, I call to you, you who are the gatekeepers of the inner treasures, the guide in the darkness. Make offerings as a token of respect. I offer this whiskey, these coins, and this sweet bread, or whatever you have. Give that over to him, okay? Express a gratitude and ask for your blessing. So if you're there and you're asking him for a blessing, or you're asking him for some protection, or you're asking for an animal to be healed, or anything like that, even people, he will help you to heal people as well, and family and that. Make sure that you make that gesture and that need very clear. Don't just go asking a basic thing like, just please give me protection. You need to give that option of what you're needing the protection for, who you're needing protection for, and why. The same as what I explained in Hecate's one. Okay, so always express your gratitude in the ritual. Okay, and then wait for his blessings and abundance, wisdom and protection. May your presence be felt. So obviously when you do this and you get this gratitude and stuff, you'll say, thank you for your blessing of abundance, wisdom and protection. May your presence be felt. Then end the prayer. As at this point, I give my work to you. Hail Cernunnos. Okay. So you would not, I'm obviously explaining to you. So it'd be, oh, horned one, father of wild, lord of the forest, Cernunnos, I call to you. You who are the gatekeepers of the inner treasures and the guide of darkness. As a token of my respect, I offer this, whatever it is you give, so whiskey, wine, whatever, and coins, and this sweet bread of sweet bread. Thank you for your blessing of abundance, wisdom, and protection. May your presence be felt. At this point, I give my work to you. Hail, Cernunnos. Blessed be, so might it be, whatever. Okay. You can personalize your prayers, which is something that is really, really important. I'm just giving you a basic structure. Okay. All of my prayers wrote in my books and my shadow books are a lot longer than this, but I'm giving you the basics and stuff because I think you need to be able to learn and establish how to write from your own selves. Okay. So if I give you the basic structure of how to speak to them, how to call out to them, You can then add your own words and intentions into those things. Okay, that is what's really important. Being personal in your working, being personal with working with your deities, your spirits, whatever it is, whether this is gods, goddesses, Mother Earth, Mother Nature, Father Sky, the Lord, Jesus, God, spirits, guardians, spirit guides, whatever it is, you're always going to have that ounce of respect that you need to have for them. Okay, how to personalize your prayers? Use what you have. The most important part is sincerity. You can use a simple prayer like Cernunnos, I ask for your blessing, if that feels more a truth to you. You don't have to do really long scripts. It can be really short and really sweet. It's however you feel that it needs to be. Always offer what you have. Be creative and use what you can find in nature to make his offering, or wherever you're going to be, depending on your deity, obviously. But for Cernunnos, yeah, nature, getting beautiful little things from nature and giving them to him, making it into something really pretty and giving it to him as a gift. They'd love that. Be creative and with language. You can create your own lines or use those from other prayers and straight points. Now, when I first started doing this years and years ago, being dyslexic and not being able to read and write properly, um, I would normally go and look up for like prayers and spells and stuff like that. And I would look at the words and I would just see loads of the words in that prayer that I did not like. Now, I have always been able to be one of these people that I, for some reason, can write verses and scripts and things like that just from my head and just put it onto paper. I can understand my writing. I can understand what I'm saying, yeah, but for others it may not be always. But back in the day, I was really bad with my reading and writing. I have got better over the years, but I used to get scripts from like either books or if I was online. Obviously, at the beginning, when there was no computers when I was little, so when computers started to come in, then yeah, scripts and stuff I would look up. I'd get that script, I'd read it 3 or 4 times because it'd take me ages to read it, and then I would work out and realize that I liked the script of the prayer, but I didn't like all of the words. So I would make my own and make it into my own. And there is no harm in doing that. If you are somebody that's not very good at putting words together and you're not very creative in that way, there is no harm in you going out and researching online and finding some of the prayers, just putting prayers for Cernunnos or Hekate or whatever goddess or god you're going to be looking into, and they will bring you up some of those things, and then you can just add your own words and take words that you don't like in it out. Make it personal to you and your god and goddess. That is what this is all about. So use your own language and your own creative thought, okay? And use physical actions. Incorporate other elements like drumming, dancing, and singing to express your devotion. Cernunnos is all about fun, a good time, having a laugh. Even though he's very serious when it comes to his domains, he is a god that loves to celebrate and to have fun and to be worshipped and enjoyed. Okay, so doing things like drumming, singing, and dancing is perfect. Putting foods and bits out, having a drink with him. These are all B-sides, and you will be his best friend in no time if you keep working the right ways. So as I said, Cernunnos is a very popular god in witchcraft and is the god to call on to work with the natural world. He can help you with your animal guides and totems. Cernunnos is very close to animals, from wild to domestic pets, and is good for any workings to do with animals, whether this is healing or anything like that. He is the god and the lord of nature, so Cernunnos is good to work with to understand and to connect with the natural world more correctly. He is connected to many energies of nature, so can help you connect to the energy and spirits of nature and the forests. Cernunnos is also connected to the underworld, meaning you can connect with other spirit and energies as well, okay? Cernunnos can also help you to be more connected to your spirituality and connection to the unseen. Cernunnos is a very respectful and powerful deity, and me being someone who works and connects with Cernunnos is I would say that Cernunnos is most definitely one of the deities you should have on the top of your lists to work with, especially if you're somebody that really loves the natural world and loves animals, and you're all about doing goodness and putting great things into the world. If you're somebody that's walked both paths, where you've had struggles in life, but you've also had really good, he will be another good energy to work with, along with Hekate. Okay, these deities, both of these deities, are very misunderstood, and they've been depicted and discriminated against for years by many people that don't really understand them. So with them and with any of your deities, it's all about getting to know them and connecting with them. That's when you can make a true gesture and understanding on them. Okay, nobody can really say, oh, they're good, bad, or whatever until you've worked with them. You know, everybody's posture is different. Like I said, Hecate and Cernunnos have the light and the dark aspect, but not the light and dark aspect as in good and evil, even though that's what's right in the context. Okay, it's just a simple fact that they have walked both roads and realms. They work within those realms. Um, they have faced and had to go through things. They have had to bring the higher and greater power up. They have had to protect. They have had to destroy. They've had to do many, many things to be able to continue and be who they are. And that is merely what it is. You know, when you hear the word underworld, you know, a lot of people depict that to being, you know, hell, and it is part, I guess, but it's not hell itself. It's the in between the heaven and the hell. Okay, they're in the liminal areas. Um, so, and you know, so many domains are misunderstood as well. You know, like heaven, hell is a place to go to understand and learn of your sins and your problems. It's a place where you will be made to reflect on the shit and the problems that you've done that you shouldn't have. Excuse my language, but that is exactly how it is done. Okay. And a lot of people go by the good, bad context thanks to certain books of society in religion that write loads of crap. Just going to say that as well. But here you go. That is just me. I'm going to be honest with you. I hope this video has helped you to have more of an understanding about Cernunnos and about his amazing abilities and powers, okay, and what he stands for and what he is. And I hope that it's also helped you to understand that he is not this bad entity and energy that people make him out to be. Yeah, he's a hard nut, just like Hecate. They have walked light and darkness, but in the end, the evil and the good is not something that is just in them. You know, the evil and the darkness comes from our intentions and our workings, not from them, not from the craft. Okay, like I said to you, sometimes you can work in the elements of the dark and still bring out goodness and light. Okay, there is a big difference between darkness and, you know, black magic in evilness. It's completely bloody different. Okay, and you know, there's going to always be people that are not going to agree with it, and they're going to say the opposite. But you know what? I've worked with these deities for long enough to know that I am pretty safe with them, and so would anyone else be, as long as you follow them the right way. So they are all of the concepts and stuff that I have wrote and done about these gods and goddesses. And oh my god, it is nearly 4 hours, guys, that this video has gone on for, but we have got all of the vital parts out. I hope that this has helped you to understand Hecate and Cernunnos more, and helping you to be able to walk your path more confidently and to come forward and to realize that not everything is always as it seems. Guys, don't judge until you can judge. Okay, so get to know energy, get to know your practices, and be your ethnic and really cool self. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Don't forget to tune in for my next show, which is going to be in the week. Obviously, I've got about 3 shows a week that are going to be coming up and come along, but just keep an eye out for my shows. Keep an eye out for Drew's shows. I do hope that you've enjoyed this show. I hope this brings you a lot of open and understanding, and I will send you lots of love, light and blessings. And enjoy this watch, learning about Hekate and Cernunnos, two of the most extraordinary energies and two of the best energies you could work with in the craft. Check them out. And thank you for watching. Blessed be and merry parting, and I'll talk to you all very, very soon. Blessed be.